Yes, guys, it is your boy Jack at the Irish Hotspur. David has taken those necessary days off just to hang out with the outlet, just to hang out with the family. And it's kind of just middle of the afternoon, my time in Seattle time. So let's get rocking with this fan show. And Dave will be joining us after the Southampton game, so don't you worry. So it is just going to be me for this one, talking to the fans. But we do have Avi in the building saying, "I like the new thumbnail, the old school look." I do like it as well. Actually, it is something that Old Soul 53 was actually kind enough to give us as well. Elias in the building saying, "Big up, guys. Hope you all had a wonderful Christmas." I did actually, Elias, and I hope you did as well. Hopefully, you had a bit of that Antonio Conte pizza, especially after that victory Sunday night. Sunday night's pizza night every time with Antonio Conte, my man. Alfie Gosling saying, "Hope everyone had a great Christmas day. Hope we can keep the clean sheet up and the results. Come on, you Spurs. Come on, you Flat Cap Army. Come on, you Harris Army. And Conte, we trust." Absolutely love it, Alfie. Chris is not joining us tonight. It sounds like, he's lost his voice, probably just screaming at too many Newcastle fans, screaming at too many people stealing his tea towels. So I totally understand, Chris. We'll have you on for the next one, my man. Dark Sun G's in the building saying, "Come on, you Spurs. I feel that tomorrow Kane and Son will break Lampard and Drogba's record, since that was the game that kick-started the Kane and Son combination last season." Wow. I mean, Dark Sun G has a photographic memory, I'll tell you that. I predict a 6-0 win. Reggie 1, Skip 1, and Son 4. That would be spectacular. I'd love to see somebody get 4 goals in a game. I would be spectacular. Sonny, Harry Kane, Emerson. I mean, I don't care who it is. I just want to see that happen at least once this season. Shamu saying United are playing terribly. My God, Ronnie is getting pissed off. You love to see it. Yeah, no see you celebrations for Cristiano Ronaldo so far. Tottenham Tantrum Gold's in the building. We will be seeing him later. He says, "Ladies and gentlemen, they're back from their Christmas break. Here's the number one Irish Hotspur fan, David Kane, Irish Hotspur Harris, and his partner in crime, Jack's son, the stats man, Kaniki. Come on, you Harris Army. Come on, you Flat Cap Army. Big yourself up, Dermot. I really, really appreciate it." He's also upgraded to a gold membership. Everybody, the link in the community section was put up a tiny bit late. That's on us, but you can hop in there right now. We do already have a few in the queue, so get in there as quick as you can. We will be going on as long as you guys need to go on. I mean, I'm happy to talk to everyone, happy to talk about anything that you want to talk about regarding Spurs. And I'm basically your guinea pig, for tonight, everybody. Killian Kenny saying, "Big up David Harris, big yourself up." He's saying, "I'm in my own house for the Newcastle Man U game with my uncle. Big up the Flat Cap Army, Euro Talk Jack. Get well soon, Bobby. Happy New Year." Big up, Killian. Way to set the example, my man. And Old Soul, thank you for the thumbnail, my man. Hopefully you enjoy it. This is thanks to you, brother. I really do appreciate you. And Shamu, I did get a good present from Santa, Killian. Lots of good presents from Santa. And then Shamu Van Spurs, he's saying he wants that clean sheet. Para Miguel Escoberto's in the building. Good evening, fam. Big up Davide and Jacko. Big yourself up, Para Miguel. Absolute legend. Adam McFarland says, "Tough one tomorrow. I'm going 1-1. Southampton are probably not to be underestimated." I do agree, my man. Coco, he's saying he's not feeling too well and he hopes we get a win tomorrow. I hope we get that win tomorrow for you, Coco. Big yourself up, though. Just sit back, relax, enjoy the show, my man. And seriously, just, lift the spirits a bit. Hopefully this show does lift the spirits, but hopefully you're keeping well, my man. George Hill's in the building saying, "Anyone else feeling bulletproof right now? Come on, you Spurs. Come on, you Black Cap Army. Come on, you Harris Army." I'm feeling a bit bulletproof, my man. I really like that phrase. I'm going to start saying that, especially if we get the 3 points tomorrow. Craig Bowler saying, "Big up David, big up Jack, big up the Flat Cap Army." Craig Bowler setting an absolute beautiful example. Ben Kaufman, who we will be seeing later, is also saying, "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Should be a cracking show tonight. So get your beers and the popcorn out. Get the beers, get the pizza, get the popcorn out," just like Ben Kaufman said. Absolute legend. Brad Matthews, who we'll also be seeing later, saying, "Evening, Harris Army and Flat Cap Army. Don't forget to click like and subscribe." Everybody's setting an example in the chat, I must say. Setting a great example. The True Sets Free saying, "Just finishing up lyrics to that hype. Lean bless up, Spurs fam. Truth. It's good to see you, my man. It's good to see you. Let me see those lyrics. Email me those lyrics, my man." And Adam McFarland, big yourself up. William McKenzie saying, "Come on, you Spurs. The thumbnails be bussing lately. Just to look at the work at the moment. So can't stay. Defiantly rewatch later." William McKenzie, really appreciate all the support that you gave David and I over this Christmas period, man. It really does help us out a lot. And it's just very, very generous of you as well. But, just, stay strong with the work. Don't get too distracted by whatever's going on in the Spurs universe, my man. And thank you very much for watching it back later. Big yourself up, William. Absolute legend he is. Carl Simpson saying, "Evening, Jack. Hope you're well. Spurs are a completely different team now, and I love it." And they're a whole different team. It's like we're in a whole different universe at this moment right now. It feels like we're bulletproof, like what was said before. Feels like we're bulletproof, Carl. Aman Arnasia, absolute legend. I love you, Aman. It's good to see you, my man. Haven't seen you in a while. Saying Jack the Legend, big up. Have not seen you in a while, Aman. So big yourself up. Dan N says us and City are currently the informed teams in the Premier League, and I feel like we're still playing in first gear. Still so much more to come from this team if we can add in January. I completely agree, my man. Neil Shafton, good to see you. Conte condiments. I wonder what the Conte condiments are because they have to be healthy. They can't be the brown sauce. They can't be the ketchup. They can't be anything else, my man. So no mayo either. I wonder what, condiments he comes up with, my man. Just making sure I'm not missing anybody. Yeah, Old Soul, was your niece's work. Very much thank to her, and thank you for also sponsoring it as well, my man. Big yourself up, brother. Keith Hicks in the building saying, can we talk about top 5 sauces? If you want to come on, we'll be happy to talk sauces. Happy to talk, my man. Just making sure I'm not missing anybody. Coco, I mean, it's the least I can do. Really just want to say, just stay in there. Stay strong, brother. Stay strong, my man. Any new news on Romero? I'm not too sure. All I know is that I think he's supposed to be returning a bit sooner rather than later. I think he's supposed to be returning around kind of mid-January, kind of mid-January time, I think is my guess. And all I know, Neil, is that in terms of Bob Spur, I think he's supposed to be in the same condition he was prior, which is a bit better, but, it's still kind of steady going at this rate. I think he is, fighting strong. I think he is doing a bit better, but all I know is that, he's kind of in the same condition he was just a few days ago. Not a lot has changed, but nothing has really worsened. So that's all I can say. And everybody keep Bob in your prayers and in your thoughts, please. But there you are, everybody. I'm just going to start bringing some people in, but William Kelly setting the example. Everybody, if you do like the fan show, if you are a member, please, 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 if you're a member, hit that community section link. It's in your community section. Feel free to come on. You're able to talk, about whatever you want in terms of Spurs and anything in the Spurs universe. Just come on in. You have your 15 minutes to be able to talk to me, about whatever's on your mind, whatever's been bugging you down, whatever you have that maybe you haven't heard before. Just basically vent. Whatever it is that you want to do, you can use it up. William Kelly, though, throwing in a super chat, and everybody, please throw in your super chats, especially on the fan show. If you want to maybe ask, a certain guest or a certain member a question, maybe you always wanted to ask Philip Brady, the Godfather, something. Maybe you always wanted to ask Brad Matthews, one of the philosophers, something. So feel free to throw it in a super chat, especially since I am alone on this one. That way you can get your points across, you can get your questions across. But William Kelly saying we will beat Southampton 2-0 tomorrow. 2-0 sounds probably pretty fair, actually, especially away from home. We haven't had the best record away from home, William Kelly, so I kind of do agree with that. I don't think it's going to be a slaughtering, unfortunately. I think it's going to be a hard-fought kind of win, but I don't see us conceding, considering the fact that our defense has been pretty rock solid, under Antonio Conte. So I completely agree, William Kelly. And William Kelly, want to see you later for the fan show, my man. Hop on that link, my man. Hop on that link. Just making sure I'm not missing anybody. And Simon Stevens is joining us, and he's saying we've upgraded the grunts to Ninja Warriors. Biggest change I've seen is we don't allow teams to breathe. Whenever an opposition player is on the ball, he gets swarmed off of it, and we go on a break. Well said, my man. Absolutely great tactical insight there. I actually completely agree, Simon. So, to be honest, it's just beautiful to see Højbjerg and Skippy just crunching people, just absolutely destroying people off the ball. It's just beautiful to see, my man. It's beautiful to see. And Shamu said Newcastle fans gave Ronaldo a C when he took a shot and it went wide. That is honestly great shithousery. But everybody, like I said, hit that community section link. Hit that link as well in the description if you want to become a member and hop on the show. But we're going to get going with our first guest of the evening, the Godfather, Philip Brady. Philip, how we keeping, my man, and what's on your mind regarding Spurs?
No, well, I mean, I think this is 16 years we haven't lost a game on Stevens' Day or Boxing Day.
Wow, that's a ridiculous record.
Yeah, we seem to, no matter how badly we're doing, we always seem to do well around Christmas. So, yeah, great. And I must say it was a really, really good performance yesterday. Really solid. Managed the game so well. It was like it's one of the few games where after the first 10 or 15 minutes when things had settled down, you felt there was no way there was going to be any other result than a Spurs win. And the way we took our goals, I mean, Lucas Moura was a revelation yesterday. Brilliant,
he certainly was.
And I'd like to thank Wilfred Zaha for being such an absolute idiot, because I mean, but I had to laugh though. I was watching I watched back the second half later on, And near the end, Jermaine Genius, who absolutely did us no favors yesterday at all with some of his comments, he reckons Zaha shouldn't have been sent off. He actually said, yeah, well, the main reason Palace lost was because Zaha was sent off. They were 2-0 down when he was sent off.
Yeah, I mean, it's starting to become a bit ludicrous now, Philip. It seems like with
crazy.
their agendas.
It's crazy.
But
no, I must say, it's very, very good.
Sorry, continue. I interrupted you. Go on.
Yeah, but I suppose that the biggest talking point I would have is the uncertainty from Saturday night on whether that game was going ahead. And I think there's a few people in the media that should hang their heads a wee bit here, because I'd say the 40,000 people that turned up yesterday, that should have been 60,000 all day long. A lot of people didn't go to the match because put it like this, if I was traveling over from Ireland, I probably wouldn't have traveled, because on Saturday night that game was off, according to the famous in the knows, who on this occasion showed they know nothing, a lot of them. The game, it was 11 o'clock on yesterday morning for the FA said the match was on, and that's where I want to get at Palace. It's totally, I don't know what game they were playing, but the team they ended up putting out had one change from the previous 10 days. The match 10 days ago. That was a tactical change. The guy that dropped was on the bench. So what was their problem? None of the players that played had it. But I was half expecting the Palace reserve team to turn up the way they were talking. Turns out Patrick Vieira got it, and he saved himself one hell of a bollocking when he got to the ground anyway by not being there, because he would have got it in the neck for being ex-Arsenal, So I think the Palace have got questions to ask here. They tried to milk whatever system the FA has for postponing matches. They tried to utilize it to their own means. They were probably scared of coming to play Spurs.
Is this an example of maybe, Philip, of those teams? Is this an example of those teams kind of, now there's this worry that teams are now kind of using maybe one COVID case to cover up maybe injuries or, like suspensions and things like that. There's a bit of a worry that now teams are kind of trying to come up with excuses for why they can't play, when in actuality, they probably are quite safe to play.
Probably. Yeah. I mean, okay, I think there was 100 positive tests this weekend in the Premiership. Now, that could be staff, players, canteen staff, everything, but it's the most there's ever been. So it is a problem. And it's bad enough having matches postponed without teams milking the system and doing, for their own. Maybe Palace felt that they weren't prepared to play that game yesterday. Maybe their coaches were out sick, had the COVID. But it was a stunt. Fair play to the FA for seeing through it and making sure. The last thing we wanted is another match to play later on. We've enough of them to play as it is, and without adding another one to it. But it's as I said, it was a good day. I think the only thing that sort of tempered my day a little bit is Southampton are now going to have a bit of confidence in them after beating West Ham. Mind you, I was delighted to see them beat West Ham, but double-edged sword there. They'll be up for tomorrow night more now than they probably would have been if West Ham had beaten them. So
it's completely agree, Philip, and maybe more on maybe some of the players that played, against Palace. Skippy, I feel like more and more is starting to look like, our version of an N'Golo Kante. I mean, I know you originally said we'd be seeing this guy in an England shirt maybe by the World Cup. Do you feel like he's now just head and shoulders, probably our best midfielder?
We'll be seeing him in the England squad when the next squad comes out. I've no doubt. The next England squad, Skippy will be in it. If he's not, there's something wrong, because the guy is absolutely playing out of his skin at the moment. Absolutely brilliant, and fair dues to him. It's great to see young, homegrown players coming through like that. And he is really, really, he's in a revelation. He really is, really is. Excellent play. And okay, I also said Tanganga will be in the squad. I'll hold back on that one a wee bit, although he did play well yesterday. Give him that.
He did play well, actually. The left side center back position, which we saw Davinson Sanchez get ruined by a Slovenian team in that position, but Tanganga actually held quite strong. I would say nothing even came down, our left hand side when you kind of think about it. So he actually had a pretty solid performance.
Once down our left. Zaha was playing mostly on our right hand side,
Right.
And that was payback time. That was payback time for the first game. I mean, he got Tanganga sent off. And Sanchez made sure he returned the compliment yesterday.
What do you feel like the
Although for
first
Jermaine,
challenge by Zaha, was that a yellow? Do you feel like the first challenge by Zaha was a yellow? That seems to be the debate.
He flipped his legs for the first one and the ball had gone. And the second one, to turn around and push someone down. Okay, Sanchez went down like he was hit by a train, but still, it was a push. And for Jermaine Genius, an ex-Spurs player, to come out and say he didn't think it was a red card, come on. I mean, the Sky ref watched this morning say red card all day long.
Yeah.
Even Sky thought it was a red card, But Zaha, they know Zaha's got a bit of a hot head on him. They played him perfectly. But that's the attention to detail that Conte has given them. He's sending them out there saying such and such boy is prone to reacting if he's fouled. So give him a tap on the ankle and see how he goes, And it worked perfectly yesterday. Absolutely perfectly.
Yeah.
And, Palace went in that game once we scored. And what a great way to see Harry Kane to score that first goal. I mean, that was just I think it was 3 passes from to cover 60 yards back of the net. Brilliant.
Yeah, and maybe one of those passes came from Lucas Moura and Emerson. I mean, what have you made? Maybe either or, whichever one you want to talk about. I thought Lucas Moura probably the obvious man of the match, but Emerson maybe for once this season showing a bit of creativity, actually in the final thirds.
Emerson was very, very good. Lucas Moura was the man of the match without a doubt. Really, he was everywhere, But I had to laugh at one of the guys on the Hotspur forum about 5 minutes before the goal was given out about Emerson saying he was rubbish, Lish, and about 5 minutes later, talk about having to eat your words, it was it's good to see it. Like these players are now benefiting from Conte's experience. There's not a player on that team that hasn't upped his game 20, 30, 40% since he came in. And he's only there 2 months. What is he going to do now for the rest of the season? That we're getting bulletproof is the word that's been used. We are getting bulletproof. We really are getting bulletproof. And that's another 3-0 victory. That's Norwich who've beaten 3-0, Palace who've beaten 3-0. Okay, maybe we should have gone for more yesterday. But why kill ourselves? You only get the same number of points. And we've got a game within 48 hours. So we've got the team management was great. I mean, taking Harry Kane and Son off was a perfect thing to do. Something that would never have happened with a previous manager. They would have left those 2 guys on till the very last minute and probably got an injury, in the last minute when it didn't really count. Didn't really matter. So they give Bergwijn a shout after his performance against West Ham. No, it's hard to pick a fault with what's happening at Spurs at the moment. It really is. But I suppose we have to look at the Dele Alli situation. Like the fact he didn't get on yesterday, I would think is probably the death knell for him. I think that's probably it, But we'll see. We have another 5 days to go before the transfer start, and then that's when it's going to get really interesting.
Yeah, and maybe just quickly on Dele Alli, is the reason maybe you're saying that is because Tanguy maybe came on instead of maybe someone like a Dele Alli?
Well, Tanguy didn't exactly. Well, he was on the pitch. I don't remember doing that much when he was
didn't
on.
do anything.
But I will say about him, he does seem to have lost a lot of weight. He seems to have slimmed down a good bit. So he's obviously not doing the McDonald's trip anymore.
Might be the hitman just following him.
The ketchup ban was a kind of a code word for McDonald's. You wouldn't know. But no, I mean it's like the Harry Winks now didn't get on the pitch either. I mean, and Harry Winks, as we all agreed, played very well against Liverpool. So no, what we're seeing now is squad rotation of the highest order. And like tomorrow, I'm sure there'll be a couple of changes tomorrow in the side that plays against Southampton. There'll probably be a couple of people rested because the next game is Saturday against Watford. Because we've got to bear in mind we've Chelsea coming up the week after, and that is huge in the Carabao, massive. And he's got to keep his team fresh. All we can hope for is no more COVID this week.
Yeah,
keep away from COVID.
Yeah,
and if we can manage that, it's going to be a very happy new year.
This is the best time for maybe some of these players just to hunker down and maybe play some Fortnite with Dele Alli, because that means at least they won't be getting out getting contagious or anything. So
don't be doing a Jack Grealish and Phil Foden anyway.
No, certainly not.
Jeez,
yeah.
Funny, I think if you did that with Conte, that'll be it. No matter who you are, you never play again. I don't think he'd stand for that.
Well, it's all about setting an example, as well, especially for the wider community, the wider society as well. And some of these people certainly are not. You mentioned the transfer window, though, Philip, and I kind of came up with a question here, that I will be asking everybody. If you were, to spend really big, let's say in the region of, kind of 40 to 60 million, let's say on a player, maybe this January window, would you spend it on a striker? Would you send it on a midfielder? Would you spend it on a
Um,
defender? Where would you spend maybe a big fee
but
on?
I think we do need backup for Harry. I mean, if we got Vlahovic, that'd be brilliant. But I
Mhm.
heard reports in the paper today he's looking for 200 grand a week wherever he goes, and I can't honestly see Daniel Levy paying that sort of money.
No.
Yeah, striker. We're still crying out for a resident creative midfielder.
Mhm.
We never replace Christian Eriksen. So we do need that. And now where we get one, I just do not know. I'm still of the opinion that it's going to be mostly loan deals or short-term deals in January. I think our real business is going to be done in the summer because
Mhm.
it's very hard to get hold of decent players in January. Unless there's a couple of guys that are out of contract in the summer and you can do a pre-transfer agreement with them.
Right.
But we'll see. I'm sure Paratici has been busy on his phone over the last couple of weeks sorting these things out, and hopefully I'm pleasantly surprised. But I just don't think we're gonna be tearing our hair out with joy over at the signings in the winter. We'll get some, but not no mega signings. I don't think.
No mega signings, I agree. I think it's
I
probably
hope
more or
I'm
less
wrong.
think it's more or less 60 or 70 million is going to be the total probably that we spend. But
Yeah.
yeah, I completely agree with you on that part. Maybe considering that some people are kind of saying in the comments, we kind of have to rotate the squad a bit. Do you maybe see then Dele Alli or Harry Winks potentially starting in the next match, maybe against Southampton, just to maybe
Yeah,
rest a few
I
players?
I can see. Okay, Skip was rested against West Ham, but he came on. Yeah, did he come on in the second half? I can see Højbjerg being rested. Like, while he's been good, Højbjerg does look a wee bit jaded at times, and I can see Winks. Now, Winks' confidence has got to be up at the moment. He's got to be thinking that he's still in the plans, and so I would say Winks could play. Dele Alli, I'm not so sure. A tough away game against Southampton. I don't think we can afford a luxury player like Dele tomorrow.
Mm,
I'd be more inclined to play the likes of Bergwijn or maybe even Brian Hill. Brian Hill did okay when he came on.
thought
But
he did
no,
as
I don't
well.
think I'm probably totally wrong on Dele Alli get a place, but I don't think so.
Yeah, I
I
think
don't think
I
so.
kind of agree with you where like the fact that he didn't come on, I feel like in the second half when making some of those substitutions kind of told it for me, whereas especially the fact that Tanguy hasn't really done anything probably to deserve a place. And yet he came on instead of Harry Winks, he came on instead of Dele Alli, kind of makes you think that maybe there is, a bit of a hierarchy already kind of maybe chosen by Antonio Conte. But, Philip, what are your thoughts maybe on potentially, Emerson, maybe, that match? Would you say maybe that was his best performance of the season so far? And what are your
Yeah,
initial impressions
I
of the
think so.
guy?
Yeah. I mean, okay, he was a bit shaky when he started, but I mean, coming into a new culture, a new team, getting to know your teammates,
Right.
completely different way of living from where he was living in Spain before. Takes time. You just walk into. Very few players walk into a team and hit the ground running. It's taken him a while, but he's starting to do it now. I mean, that cross for Lucas's goal was a peach, and
Right.
if he
It
can if
was.
he can produce that, and if Reguilon can start doing the same from the left, like Reggie's crosses have a habit of being blocked down, a lot of the time. So if we can get those two boys firing those crosses in, I mean, we've really got the boys up front to finish off the crosses. So yeah, I'd be
Especially
defensively
Lucas's
he's
ability.
better than Doherty. He's better than Doherty defensively as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, I'd be happy enough with him now. I think he's going to be he's only, what is he, 21, 22?
I
He's a
think
young
he's
lad.
22, just turned
Give him time.
22.
And look, we've got Romero coming back. And I mean, I can see the rumors of a signing Matthias de Ligt from
Yeah.
Juventus. I mean, if we get him, well, I mean, I think we'll what was it, build an altar to Conte and Paratici if we get him, because I mean that guy tormented us when he was playing for Ajax in
And
the
he's a menace
19
in the air.
European Cup. Yeah, I mean he's only 22, but the experience he's got. But like the problem with him is, is he going to go to a team that's not guaranteed Champions League? This is the thing. I mean, he's very ambitious. Salary wise, you could probably afford him, but what sort of price are you looking for him? But it'd be fantastic if we got. Imagine Romero and De Ligt in the center of that defense.
Oh, it'd just be beautiful.
Hugo Lloris could bring out his deck chair. Hugo could bring out his deck chair. Mind you, I know he had one yesterday, but bit cold for a deck chair in December. But no, it would be a fantastic signing. But it's wishful thinking because I don't think we will get him. United have to equalise them.
Oh, that's
United have just equalised against Newcastle.
It's a damn shame.
Oh dear.
Well, at least it's nice to see them struggle. They struggled against, Norwich. They struggled against, Newcastle clearly. So, I mean, maybe Ralph Rangnick is, not so much Wreck-It Ralph.
In this game. They missed 2 great chances in the second half already. But anyway, not to worry.
Well, Philip, any maybe final words, maybe any final touching points, any talking points maybe you want to end off on?
Let's hope that tomorrow night we're in as good a state as we are at the moment, because if United win tonight, they go above us. But we win tomorrow night, obviously we go above them. So he's hoping for a good performance tomorrow. Like Southampton and Watford, the 2 away games, they're 2 eminently winnable games. And I'd be very disappointed if we don't win both of them. Because we're on a roll, and let's keep it that way,
Let's keep it that way. I completely agree. Well said, Philip. And, thank you for coming on. It's always good to get the words of wisdom, from Philip the Don Brady. And hopefully, Paratici and Conte will get their Christmas list, come January window. And, maybe Spurs, might be sneaking into the top 4 this season. But Philip, it's always a pleasure to have you on.
That's what we all want. That's what we all want.
That's what we all want. It was a pleasure to speak to you, Philip. And we'll be catching you very soon, my man.
I'll talk to you soon. All the best. Come on, you Spurs.
All the best. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Philip. Good to see you, my man. That's it, everybody, from Philip the Don Brady, as people call him over here, the other godfather, the godfather of the Irish Hotspur. But we're going to keep moving on, everybody. We're going to keep moving on. Going to get through these. I'm looking forward to what everybody has to say. And like always, everybody, please, if you want to throw in a super chat to ask maybe a particular guest or particular member something, feel free to put it in a super chat. I'll continue to get through the comments as best I can. But if you do want to have maybe, the talking points maybe switched up a bit, if you want someone to maybe bring up something that hasn't been brought up yet, feel free to throw it in a super chat. It really does go a long way. It also allows you to kind of skip the queue and get your points across. But we're going to be going to Brad Matthews, maybe the philosopher, the one with the flat cap of the Harris Army. Brad, how you keeping? And, what are your thoughts maybe on yesterday's match?
I'm doing very well, actually. I've just, like Philip, got the Man United game on in the background, and Newcastle should have this game done and dusted. But could prove important to Tottenham, I guess. But we'll see what happens. But yesterday I thought it was a very professional performance. Yesterday, I thought they never really looked in trouble. The first sort of 20 minutes, it was sort of cat and mouse, backwards and forwards. But once we got that goal, it was just like, that was the end of the game, really. And then Zaha getting sent off, once that happened, you thought, well, they ain't coming back in this game. And the second half, as Philip was saying, we sort of took the foot off gas a bit. But when you're playing 48 hours later, that's a sensible thing to do if you got the game won. So, we won it 3-0. We could have won it 4-0, 5-0. But the main thing is we won. We got the 3 points. We're winning games by more than 1 goal now, so which is a real bonus. But and I thought it was a very good performance. I like the way Conte is rotating the squad at the moment. I like the fact that he took off Kane and Son and Højbjerg. He was, he's brave enough to do that. He trusted his players that are on the pitch, and they also trust him. So I thought, it was a good, solid performance. And for a person who normally sits there expecting the worst, it was really comfortable in the end. 10. We played against 10 men, obviously, but it was a really comfortable victory. And long may it continue. And the good thing about yesterday, I thought, was the fact that there were still times we thought, we could have done that better, or we could have done that better.
Right.
And I think that this team, will improve, and that could only be a good thing. So so we're 2 points behind Arsenal or whatever, or
I think we're 6 points at the moment.
6 points, them. We've about a million games in hand.
So we could easily be 3 points ahead if we win these next 3. And one of those matches is, against actually the scum as well. So
this is it, and I think I mentioned this the other night on the show. Is that you take your rivals. You can't allow your rivals to get more points than you during the season. So Arsenal and Man United have both beaten us. So we have to beat them. Then the points are even then. Because at the end of the day, when you look at the end of the season, that could be very, very important with whether we get top 4 or not. But I think Arsenal at home, that's a game we can definitely win. Man United away will be difficult, obviously. It's a difficult place to go. But, you've got to be confident. If they don't get the 3 points tonight, that'll be a bonus. But, it's looking good at the moment.
Certainly is. And, Brad, I mean, what are your thoughts maybe on a certain Lucas Moura, from, yesterday's match? Are we seeing the best of Lucas Moura right now under Antonio Conte?
He just seems to be improving. He's
right.
The one sort of criticism we always had with Moura was that he didn't have an end product, didn't score enough goals and get enough assists. He did all his nice jiggly bits, but he wouldn't have that sort of effect. But now he had the 2 assists and the 1 goal yesterday. He got the goal and assist against West Ham. He scored against Norwich. And I think I saw a stat tonight on We Are Tottenham TV that says he's got he's got more assists in his last 4 or 5 games than he has in his previous 30. Something like that. Some really ridiculous statistic like that.
Wow. Yeah.
So I just feel that Conte just said, look, just go for it. Get the ball, run with it. A defender, nothing a defender likes worse is a good player running at with speed and with ability, and that's what Moura's doing. And I think the 3 of them yesterday with Son and Kane, it seemed to scare the shits out of Palace yesterday. So long may that continue.
Definitely, and maybe his partner on the right, Emerson. I mean, seemed like that was one of his best, displays going forward, you might say, this season. What are your impressions maybe of Emerson so far this season?
I've always liked him because I've always thought that there's a lot of potential there. And I know potential is a horrible, horrible word, but he's come over from Spain. He's never played in the Premiership. And yet he's got it there. He's definitely got it there. He's only young still. I read another stat tonight, and I'm not one for stats, and here I am doing all the stats.
Here we go.
He's apparently got the most tackles in the Premiership this year, or something, or some statistic like that.
In our whole squad, actually, as well. I think he has of all fullbacks as well. He's also played, Brad, significantly fewer minutes than most other fullbacks in the Premier League this season. Yet he has, I believe, some of those tackles and interceptions combined. I think of almost all fullbacks in the Premier League. So,
and you can see
solid defensively.
You could see yesterday, actually, because over the last few weeks, I mean, Davis didn't play yesterday, but over the last few weeks, you can see a partnership between Davis and Reguilon, or actually when Session, Davis and Session, you got that little partnership there. And yesterday, you could see the Moura and Emerson partnership developing, which both from the same country. And you could tell he was so that I think Moura was more excited the fact that Emerson got the assist and actually Moura scoring the goal. Because you see the celebration and he's like, because I think that's Emerson's first assist this season, which is obviously as a right wing back is what you want him to do. So I love that. And another thing about the Moura goal, and maybe a fine line. I've always, people that know me, I've always said that you don't see diving headers anymore in football. You don't seem to see the old fashioned diving header. Moura's goal, possibly a diving header. I mean, he was
like a human missile.
It was. So it wasn't the the normal 1 to 2 feet from the ground, but I think 5 feet from the ground. I think that was amazing. It's like, and I watched it when I saw the goal. I thought, they won't look at it for VAR, will they? Because some players go up and they push as they go up, but no, he just went for the ball, and Anderson, who's a reasonably good defender, was like waiting there, and then suddenly, boom, he's clattered. As Moura comes through at a million miles an hour and scores the goal, and that was just brilliant. And then it's 2 goals in 2 minutes, and I thought we were going to score another one in that half as well. I thought we were really on point at that moment, and then I think the second half they just slowed it down a bit. A few substitutions. Nonambele probably wasn't on for long enough, but the other guys who came on I think did all right, looked promising. Good to see Brian Hill back playing. He was trying. Bergwijn was trying. They looked like the players that we all wanted to sell a month ago. You're thinking, well, actually, if we don't buy many players in January, which I don't think we will, then you need these players to perform and be part of the squad. And if they do continue as they've been doing, then hey, that's good. That's a squad we're developing there.
Right.
And tomorrow, I don't. I mean, tomorrow you'd expect. I agree with what you said earlier. You'd expect to see Dele Alli and Harry Winks play tomorrow.
Potentially,
But
yeah.
if they play like they've played in the last few games, great. I ain't got a problem with that. So yeah, it's looking very, very good.
What are your thoughts then, maybe if Harry Winks and Dele Alli were to play? I mean, there's been a lot of talk, especially on this channel, because we do like to think about the tactics over here. Do you feel like maybe we might go back then to that 3-5-2 instead of that 3-4-3? Do you have a preference between those two formations? Do you like that we have both of those formations in our disposal? How do you feel like with the 3-5-2 and the 3-4-3?
If Delhi plays tomorrow, I think we have to play the same sort of formation we played against Liverpool.
Right.
Where, I mean, that was what a 3-4-1-2, you could argue. Where Ali's just behind, or you could say it's a 3-5-2. But yeah, I thought Ali played pretty well in that sort of role, which is going back to how he used to play and where he used to play. So I think if he plays tomorrow, then I can see him being behind the two front forwards, and then more a sort of providing all the other sort of stuff and that. But although I didn't remember, I wouldn't play, would he? Trying to work out who's playing who'd end up with 12 players. Yeah, probably win then.
Maybe so. Maybe, with that extra man. Absolutely. Do you feel like Southampton tomorrow? I mean, they just had that great result against West Ham. They've also had, I believe a decent result before the season against Man City. I think Chelsea was another team that they also kind of gave a good game to, if I'm not mistaken. Do you feel like Southampton, maybe, especially away from home, maybe they shouldn't be kind of written off? Maybe it might be a bit more difficult than we'd like to think.
Well, I've been to Southampton's ground a couple of times, and I think we've lost and we've drawn.
Right.
They can be Southampton, one of these teams that they can be very, very difficult. We've got a very good record against them actually in the Premier League, but they can be a very difficult team to play. But sometimes, as we got them last year on the break and beat them comfortably. So it would be interesting to see how Conte does set up tomorrow and how we do play the game. I think it might be a bit of a cagey sort of let's sit back a little bit and then let them come onto us and then get them on the break, which is how we beat them last season. One thing I'm 100% sure in is that Danny Ings won't score against us tomorrow because he normally does. That's definitely not going to happen. So that's one good thing about tomorrow.
No, good thing. That's a good thing for sure. Do you maybe feel like then maybe it should be what? A 1-0, a 2-0,
I think it will be a sort of a close one, a 1-0 or a 2-0 or maybe even a 2-1 or something like that. If we're going to win, I think someone earlier predicted 1-1. As I said the other night, I think that over the Christmas period we'll have a good run, but I don't think we'll win every game. But at the moment, if we can beat Southampton tomorrow, and then I didn't realise how low in the table Watford were actually until I looked at the table. Yeah. So, these are two games that, you'd like to win them both. Of course you would, but football doesn't work that way. So,
no, it's not.
I'm confident, but you just don't know. So, so I'd like to think that if we do win tomorrow, I think it'll be a tight 1-0 or 2-0 tomorrow, definitely. And by the way, if anyone's watching, to all the people that are watching this at the moment, I found out, much to my surprises, that the game is on Prime Amazon Video tomorrow. So
there you are.
They've got all of the games. So it's a 3:00 kickoff. So we can, if you've got Prime Amazon, which I have, you can actually watch it on the TV. So which is good.
Yeah, I know they bought during especially the December fixture kind of month, they bought, a lot of rights to, airing some of these games during this time period, which, decent timing by them. Maybe what are your thoughts on Skippy so far? I feel like more and more he's looking like actually our best midfielder. In fact, I've started to liken him to almost like Spurs' kind of N'Golo Kante, the way that he plays.
Conte's probably a bit of a push.
We like to push here.
Yeah, I would probably I compare him to Steve Perryman when Steve Perryman first played for Spurs, and a lot of the people watching wouldn't have seen Steve Perryman play, but he made his debut when he was 19. He might have even been younger actually, and he was that sort of real tenacious sort of midfielder, which Skip is. And I think Skip has added stuff to his games. Since Conte's been there, he can find the pass now. He's running with the ball. He's even had a shot. He's getting into positions now where he can have a shot at goal. And you could argue whether he's going to become a goal scoring midfielder. I don't know. Someone actually suggested him being like Paul Scholes. I'm not sure about that, but he's definitely. Oh, thank you. Enough lovely things there. Thank you, Cody.
I
I'm touched. But yeah, I think Skipper's got so much more to his game now in 3 or 4 weeks under Conte. So he's just he's an amazing player. I think he'll make the World Cup squad this season for the World Cup. Whether he'll get in the first 11, I don't know. I think he might actually. I think he might make the squad for the next lot of internationals, which I think might be in March. I think they've got some more games. If we got some friendlies or some games against, I'm not sure if you've got San Marino or any of those sort of teams, but I think the World Cup's over now, isn't it? I think.
Luckily for Skippy, what David would like to say, and I probably have to say it, on David's behalf since he's not here. Luckily for Skippy, he doesn't have a lot of hair, left to maybe get an England haircut, as David likes to say. He says every time a player gets a call up, they get a new haircut. Maybe in Skippy's case, that just, can't happen. He doesn't have enough hair to work with. But do you feel like, I kind of asked Philip this earlier, Brad, we're probably, the transfer window might bring in maybe 1 to 2 players. Let's say we get one big, kind of marquee signing. Let's say, just dream a little bit with me, 40 to 60 million kind of, pound signing of some sort. Would you rather spend that on a striker? Would you rather spend that on the midfield? Would you rather spend that on a new center back or a defender? Where would you want to spend that? Maybe
I would, just for logistical reasons, I'd like to sign a striker.
Yep.
For the simple fact that, we do need a creative midfielder. Yes, we do need another centre back. But at the moment we're creating chances, we're not conceding goals. So you could probably get away with not getting anyone in for the rest of the season.
Right.
In the summer window, obviously that's what you're going to need. But for what we want to do this season, win a cup or get top 4, I think we need to get a striker. And if I had one player be a striker, Vlahovic obviously being one of the examples, because I think with Kane, it was great seeing Kane get replaced yesterday with half an hour ago. It's like, wow, we're doing so well that we could take our best player off, and it's great. He's going to get a rest, hooray, And so I think if you had your top striker like Vlahovic, you could sort of play him, have Kane on the bench, or give Kane a rest. You could play him in a League Cup game or whatever it might be. It's great, and Conte seems to like doing the rotating. He's obviously got experience with doing that, so I think that'd be a good one. I read some report tonight. I don't know what tier it is, saying that apparently Vlahovic's agent feels that Conte's Tottenham is the next step for his player, in that he doesn't really fit into the Man City system. He obviously wants to play Champions League football, but under Conte, it's a sort of, we could be playing Champions League football under Conte anyway. So whether this is true or not, this is one of the tweet things. So we all know after the postponement of the Spurs Palace game, we all know how wrong tweets can be. So I think that I'll take it with a pinch of salt. But it was nice to read. It's nice to dream. But I think that's where we need to, if we had that, to get that one player. There was a list actually that someone put on one of the WhatsApp groups of the players that are available on a free at the end of the season.
A good list, in fact.
I do believe you can sign them up on a 6 months, can't you? You can talk to them now, I think. Yep. So, and there are some really decent players in there.
There are.
Paratici's known for getting his nice free transfers. So you do wonder whether they're doing that and sort of looking at. All right. And Mbappe is a bit of a push, but some of the other players on there, I think would be good signings. And I think Ali Gold was saying that the talks that they had, apparently Conte sat down to have talks with Paratici a month ago, and he was saying, no, I need more time to look at my current squad. Mm-hmm. And they're going to have some more talks now over the next few days. So obviously with the window coming up. So hopefully we'll see some business. As I say, I don't think it'll be major business. I think we've got a good enough team to push for a cup to get top 4. If, and this is the big caveat here, if the squad players keep performing like they have been performing, that's the big caveat. If they, we want the Liverpool squad players rather than the Mirror squad players. That's the sort of efforts we want. If they can do that, I think that we can get by this season. But then, of course, that Conte is ambitious, and this is what the last time we had this was under Pochettino. He'll want to win the title. That's what it will be next season. It'll be, we're going to try and win the title. And the great thing about that is that if you fail and you end up second or third, you've got your championship football, which is what happened with Pochettino. You know,
Fair play.
we're disappointed. Yeah, we're disappointed. We didn't win the title. Disappointed, and it's like, oh, we got championship football. Wow, what the hell, you know?
Who knows? And also, maybe he is trying to build something here. I know he is kind of known for having kind of short-term kind of tenures at clubs, but who knows? You know, maybe Antonio Conte probably sees this as more of a project than maybe other clubs he's worked at before. But Brad, it's an absolute pleasure to speak with you.
Yeah, I've got one more thing to say before we go.
No
one
problem.
more thing to say. The Zaha sending off. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the first booking, you could argue it wasn't a booking. Okay, you could say he just clipped him accidentally or whatever. I mean, I thought he pushed him from watching it live, and
it looked like he kind of raked, his ankle.
You could argue, oh, maybe the referee should have given them more. You can argue what you like, but the thing is, once he gets a booking, then to do what he did was absolute madness.
Yeah,
absolute madness. He's on a booking,
stupid,
and it wasn't like a little shove. It was a push. And to be fair to Sanchez, and a lot of players will go down holding their head. Sanchez actually falls down and then gets up going, "What's that? What's that?" You know. So it wasn't like Sanchez milked it and got the, you know. And it was, as soon as you saw that, you thought, "Oh, he's on."
You could even make the argument. You could make the argument that the first one wasn't a yellow, but then simultaneously you could make the argument that the second one was a straight red, because it's obviously a huge, retaliation. It's a huge push out of frustration. Yeah. It's not obviously like a hard tackle or anything. It's him taking out some frustration, taking out a bit of, pent up kind of, I don't know, like just anger towards Sanchez. Yeah. And, you might argue that back then, of course, that wasn't given as anything, but, in kind of the modern day football, those are kind of taken a bit more seriously. And so while you could argue the first one wasn't a yellow, you could argue the second one could have been a straight red, especially if VAR took a look at it.
I think because he pushed him there rather
near
than
his face as well. Yeah. I think he put his hands, kind of, near his, anytime you put your hands in this region as well.
He seemed to sort of manhandle him and then do the push.
Yeah,
it wasn't like push him out of the way, like it was like and then massive push.
Yeah,
and Sanchez, and the look of Sanchez, what was that?
Yeah,
and then Emerson came in. Oh, I do like that. That camaraderie. Emerson comes in, sort of thing. I think someone had to push Emerson away. Just stay out of it. We've got sending off. Don't make it worse, sort of thing. But and the thing about Zaha, I mean, when Sessegnon did it in the Mura game, you could put it down to youthful exuberance, But Zaha's 29 years old. He's an adult.
It's just it's just rashness, and he gets rattled a bit too easily.
Yeah, and Spurs obviously went in. Yeah, Spurs obviously did try and rattle him, as any club he plays against will do the same thing, and that's
they know what to do.
Yeah, the shit has really seen. But yeah, that's my take on that whole
thing. Think that was a great take. Honestly, well broken down, actually, Brad. I think, well broken down. But, Brad, maybe quickly, where can people find more of you if they want to see more of you as well? As always, it was a pleasure to speak with you. But maybe plug of yourself, where can people find you?
Yeah, at Brad Hotspur is my Twitter handle. I'm normally on a few of the shows every now and again. We did one yesterday for Spurs Asian TV, and we broadcast for 20 minutes and then realised that we weren't live.
I've been there before.
Yeah, but as I say, the music channel, I found out today that one of my amplifiers is not working, so that means I can't get a microphone through it at the moment. But that's hopefully up in the new year. I'm really going to try and get it in the new year and get up and put some music out there.
Which people, present.
Yeah. Quite welcome to have a look and offer any comments or, hey, look, you might want to jam with me. Who knows?
There you go. I like it, Brad.
Any record producers out there,
There we go. Maybe we'll find a bit of Irish Hotspur collabing, maybe in the chat here. Maybe if anybody wants to join the Brad Hotspur band. But Brad, as always, absolute pleasure to see you. Absolute pleasure to speak with you. And
we'll catch you very soon.
Thank you, Brad. Thank you.
Go on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. And Conte we trust. Big up, Brad. There you are, everybody. Brad Matthews, one of the philosophers of the Harris Army. So he is. Absolute legend. Always a pleasure to speak with him. And Killian Kenny, here's your shout out, my man. Hopefully you're keeping well, Killian Kenny. Hopefully you're enjoying that Newcastle game, which everybody seems to be getting a good kick out of. Leo is also joining us in the building saying, come on, you Spurs, big yourself up, Leo. Just making sure I'm not missing any new people. Foden haircut for Skip. Yeah, no Foden haircut for Skip, please, Neil. I would say, especially over here in the States, that haircut does not do well. That haircut does not do well. Just making sure Ed M, I think, is joining us. Big up, Ed M. Just making sure I'm not missing any new faces, though. And everybody, thank you very much for, sticking with us in the chat. Thank you very much for, giving your thoughts and all the questions that I've given so far. And as always, like I said, everybody, if you do enjoy the fan show, hit that like. If you're new to the fan show as well, hit that subscribe button and maybe, grab that membership, while you can as well. If you want to come on, and maybe have a few words with me. Maybe there are a few things you've always wanted to tell me. Maybe there are a few things you want to argue with me about. Maybe there's some things that are just kind of bugging you or things that maybe haven't been spoken about. Feel free to grab a membership, everybody, and, jump on the link. It is in the community section, but we are going to keep moving on to Dermot, Tottenham Tantrum Gold, the absolute legend there. Dermot, my man, how we keeping, and what are your thoughts maybe on yesterday's match? I think you're on mute. Sorry, Dermot.
I'm very bad. Spurs are back. Woohoo! I watched it. I watched it with Kuva and Phil yesterday, and we did our own little offline watch along, and we loved it. It was great fun. We thought Spurs played very well. I thought Emerson was a bit dodgy to begin with, but got better as the game went on. Moura was definitely man of the match. Over the moon, Harry scored. And it was overall a good professional performance. And I think from Spurs, we haven't seen that for a while.
No.
Do you know what I mean? And it was good to see.
Performance.
It was a comfortable performance. And we've got Southampton tomorrow. So, he done right, took Kane off. And I thought Stevie B didn't do too bad when he came on and played as central striker, I have to say. Though he didn't get many touches, but he was putting himself around, which was good to see.
Right.
And very, very good performance. Very pleased, very optimistic. We are bulletproof. We are going to win the league this year. Man City and all them are going to fall off the pace. If we don't win it this year, we're definitely doing the double next year. I can see us doing the double again and actually matching the 60-61 side. I feel very similar traits in Bill, Nick, and Conte.
Wow. That's the highest praise you probably can receive from any Spurs fan, especially from yourself, Dermot. But maybe on a few of the players that, had a good match last night. I mean, Lucas Moura, are we seeing, Lucas Moura has been at the club a long time. He gives his all for the club. He's one of the hardest working players, probably consistently, but maybe in terms of his actual form, in terms of his actual play, are we seeing the best of Lucas Moura maybe right now?
We are. I think we've seen the best of Moura. I think we've seen everyone keeps slagging off Holberg. He's had a few bad games, but I think Kuva always says if your back's to the wall, he's always a good player to have there. Skip is just immense. I mean, Skip's my player of the season.
Yeah.
I mean, he really is. I mean, that year he had at Norwich did him the world of good. Harry's sort of on and off. Moura, Son again is off again, but I think some of these players have had a long season as well, and they've also played like in European Championships or Sonny's probably played in South Asia Cups or something that's similar. So I think some of these players, and also there's been a lot of upheaval within the club as well. But I think some of them players, I mean, Skip's my player of the season. I can't get over how brilliant Skip has been.
Yeah.
He's absolutely... He reminds me of a Graham Roberts type player. And that is the biggest thing I can give to Skip. He reminds me of Graham Roberts.
That's actually...
And Graham Roberts would put the foot in and, I mean, he lost teeth in the 81 Cup final. Didn't listen to the doctor, wanted to take him off, and he ran back on the pitch again. That's something Skippy would do.
Yeah.
I could see him doing it.
probably similar to Graham Roberts as well. He gets kind of a sickly smile, as well. Whenever he puts in a hard tackle, he likes a bit of, the dark arts Skippy does as well, which, is just it's what you need in a midfielder sometimes, somebody that is well versed in the dark arts, somebody that knows what, it kind of feels like to put in a hard tackle. And also he's probably maybe this season been, despite him being kind of a midfielder, saved us from a lot of goals. Has probably been, one of our best defenders just in general, especially considering I believe it was the West Ham match. You talk about that save he made, at the far post as well. I mean, he does just get stuck in for a living, Skippy does.
He does. And there's a few players now start coming into their own, but Nombele, he's gone. I mean, he came on yesterday and you thought he was playing with bottles of mustard, because I didn't see him for the whole game when he's on. Just kept hiding. He must have thought, well, it's a bottle of mustard here. Let's get a bit of taste of this mustard. And let's get a bit different mustard, English, Irish mustard, American mustard, whatever. He's useless. Dele Alli, I don't know why. I mean, he was good on the bench. He looked good there, and I think he should stay there. I mean, there were changes. I mean, he's useless. He needs to go. I don't want any of these deadwood round anymore. They have to go. We're building something. And I want players there that want to be there. Not want to be there just for the paycheck, but keep on going. We'll get Champions League this year. I'm fully confident of that. I think we will. I think Arsenal's fight. We're in a fight with Arsenal for top 4.
Yeah, and it's to a degree. When's the last time we've seen that? Considering that Arsenal have yet to compete with us in the league for any sort of position in some time. When you consider that. And so it is kind of nice to see, actually, it's not nice to see the scum playing well, but it's just nice to see a bit of new blood kind of competing for the top 4. It's nice to see that. Kuva 99, quickly, Dermot, he's saying, try not to laugh. Remember you're breathing.
This was earlier on, Jack. We're doing the stream this evening, and Kuva had me laughing so much I nearly blacked out. Nearly passed out. It was that. I mean, me and Kuva, when we're left alone in the stream, it just goes to pieces. I mean, we sort of bounce off each other. So he's a bugger for that. He really does.
If Kuva could do kind of like Chris, Chris and Kuva, if they could do like a stand-up comedy special on Spurs related things, I probably would need to have a puke bucket to the side. I'd be laughing so hard when you consider that.
I got to one point, I was like this in the stream, and all the room just went black, and I was trying to get myself camera off so they wouldn't see me sort of going this way. Honest to God, so
no, I would know. I'd be heaving. I really would. I wouldn't be able to breathe. So Kuva, pick yourself up. Really do appreciate it.
I couldn't breathe and I couldn't get my words out. That was the problem. I couldn't speak. So everyone's showing my mouth. I got, and he was laughing more, which made me laugh more. So it was really funny.
And I think another inside joke coming here from So Spursy saying, raise your apple juice, quote unquote, to the legend Dermot.
There you go.
There it is, everybody. Kuva as well has been, questioning what's been in Dermot's, plastic water bottles. He thinks it's something else, but I can
pure vodka. Pure vodka.
Rest assured, everybody, he's a clean man. Dermot is. He's a clean man. But big up, So Spursy. I'm loving these inside jokes. I'm loving these inside jokes that Dermot's getting. It's actually pure class. Really appreciate it, So Spursy. Really appreciate it, Kuva. And like everybody, if you want to follow along in their footsteps, the examples they've set, if you kind of have, a bit of kind of a love for maybe one of the panelists or one of the members that come on, feel free to throw it in a super chat. I'll try to get to your comments as I always do as best I can. But if you want to, ask them something, put them on the spot, maybe make them giggle a bit, feel free to throw it in a super chat. But Dermot, maybe the 3-4-3 versus the 3-5-2, we kind of been seeing the 3-4-3, mostly, but it feels like maybe considering this Southampton match is coming so soon, in fact, 2 days after we just played, do you feel like maybe we'll go back to the same formation that we played against Liverpool?
I think so. I think it's a good formation to play away from home. I think when you play at home, you got to be more attacking, but away from home, just tie up the defence. I actually don't agree with that. Me and Kuva have been talking about this. As much as we all hate Arsenal have been getting the results lately. And scoring, everyone's been scoring goals. With us, it's been very few people. And once we all start scoring, then, we will finish above Arsenal. But do you know what I mean? We shouldn't really just discount Arsenal, because they're on a good run themselves, and you know, to me, it's not easy. We will finish above them, but I don't think we should discount them either. I think you'd be very foolish to discount any team in the Premier League. You know, any team can go on a good run or a bad run.
Right.
But I know we're Tottenham and we hate Arsenal, but we're in a fight for them for top 4.
It does feel that way.
Yeah, and go back to your thing. I think he will pay 3-5-2 because I think he wanted to tighten up the defence.
That was really just I like that answer.
Yeah, I think if you get a point away from home is a good point. You know, either a win or a point. You try not to come away with a defeat, and then at home you go for the win. But away from home, the worst case scenario is a point. So I think that's what they tried to do.
I like that answer, Dermot. I actually really do like that answer. And maybe, you know, I asked you before maybe about Lucas Moura, and you said, yeah, you agreed. You know, we've been seeing the best of him in terms of, you know, his partner on the right-hand side, Emerson. I mean, it seemed like that was his best display, at least going forward this season. Yeah. What are your impressions so far of Emerson maybe this season?
I wasn't impressed with him to begin with.
Yeah.
But I think as the games have gone on, I've been more impressed. I think it's typical South American football. He will go down easy. He will make a meal out of everything. Yeah. It's just typical South American football. So I suppose it's handy, I suppose, in the way if you're in a tight spot.
It goes both ways.
Yeah, it does. But if you're being pegged in and you go down, you make a bit of a meal out of it. It grabs you that few 10, 15 seconds just to quickly organise yourself better, like it's a free kick or a corner. So, yeah, I think he is improving. He will become a good win-back. But I think we need another one just to cover him. Because I just feel there's... I don't know, he might let us down. Don't ask me why. I just got that feeling. But I think we should go for Trippier. If we are in for him, definitely get him back to the club. Because I think I'd rather have Trippier...
Sorry, yeah. Continue. Sorry.
I'd rather have Trippier back at the club. Sorry, Jack, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No. You were on a good roll there. That's my fault, Dermot. I think maybe what needs to happen is last season, if you take yourself back to last season, Region didn't really have any competition on that left-hand side, and we kind of were left to maybe wonder, what if there's something better out there? What if there's something that can compete? And it feels like now with Sessegnon back, maybe he does have that competition, but it feels like Emerson is in the same situation as Region was last season, where there's really no competition there. I mean, we can all, say Doherty, but we can't be serious about that being his competition. And
give him time. I'll give Doherty time. I know I'm saying it because he plays for Ireland and I'm Irish, he plays for, but I'm very much in the believer give a play time. I mean, he's the only one who's come out and admitted he's playing badly.
That's fair. Good point.
He had the guts to come out and say, look, it's been on me.
Right.
The rest of them haven't. Ali hasn't. Nombele hasn't.
Yeah.
The rest of them haven't. Dyer haven't. They haven't got the guts even to come out to say, I've combed my hair today. At least Doherty come out and said, look, I haven't been playing well. It's my own fault. Which way is managers. But I think he needs to be given time. But if not, then move him into right midfield. Move him up the pitch.
Yeah.
I think Conte would not be paying him if Conte didn't think he was a good player.
Yeah, that's maybe true, but who knows? I think, it depends on what Paratici can get done in the January window. It's hard to say, though. And I think that's a good point, though. At the end of the day, Doherty has been the only person to ever come out and raise his hand, about his own performances and kind of admit that it's not his best. And if that's not his best, then yeah, apparently there's something better out there. Apparently there's better form out there. Truth Sets Free saying Tottenham Tantrum Gold legends, Dermot, Kuva, Phil, and Ben Kaufman. Hopefully Phil Lattis does join us, but almost have 3 out of 4 of the legends tonight coming in. We're going to have Kuva
Phil's at a cocktail party tonight. He's drinking cocktails. So I don't think it'd be much steak coming on.
Who's going to be the bartender? Who's going to be the driver? That's the other situation as well. But Ben Kaufman will be hearing from very soon. We'll be hearing from Kuva very soon as well. Hopefully Phil Lattis will come on. But yeah, the Tottenham Tantrum Gold legends, everybody, are in the building. As always, the absolute true channel, especially if you need that bit of therapy, if you need that bit of, what were the old days like? What was, the good times? What was it like to be, kind of a winning team and whatnot? Just head on over to that channel. I could not recommend it anymore. Also, they do really, really kind of good kind of time shows, especially if you kind of are looking for something to watch in the morning, maybe while you're working, maybe while you're just kind of enjoying a bit of coffee. Feel free to head on over to Tottenham Tantrum Gold, everybody. And True Sets Free, really do appreciate it, my
Thank
man.
you.
Hopefully you're keeping well. He also says, I swear it's just water in my sippy cup. No, it is, my man, especially in this little sippy cup right here. It actually, in fact, is. It could be something different. Who knows? I guess we'll never find out. But I can promise you, at least for Dermot and I, it might just be water for now. It might just be water for now. Maybe something a bit different.
That's what I've
later.
got in here, Jack. It's Irish moonshine. That's what I've got in here.
The good old Irish grain,
Yeah.
But big yourself up, Truth. And especially I do the one thing I do enjoy about being back home, is, having the little sippy cups, because they do definitely, bring a bit of novelty to it all. But Dermot, I kind of been asking people this, as kind of a question that came up with, if we were to spend really big on a player this January window, would you spend it on a striker? Would you spend it on a midfielder? Would you spend it on the defense? Where would that big marquee, let's say, £40 million signing, £50 million signing, where would you put that? In what position?
I would say, well, that's a good one.
It's tough. I think every answer could be right.
I would say a centre back, because for the reason why is, I think we've got one good centre back with the Argentinian. What's his name? The one we bought.
Oh, Romero,
that's it. Tantanga, I would play as the other centre back. I will buy one to replace Dyer. Dyer, as well as he's playing, he's always a mistake in him.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? And there's something in a big game he will make a mistake. So I'll buy another centre back and put him in there. That's my where I'll go. I mean, everyone go for another striker or midfield, but I'll go for centre back.
Okay, I like that outside shout, to be honest. And I think there was a certain channel as well that I saw as well. They were saying, out of all the players in the Premier League that maybe need to be kind of replaced or upgraded, they were saying they put number one, Eric Dyer, which I think, if that's what fans are saying outside of Spurs that aren't Spurs fans are saying, that makes you kind of think maybe we shouldn't be so sentimental sometimes towards Dyer.
I mean, you look at the Newcastle game, you can see that he let in 2 goals there with his mistakes. Last season, it was mistake after mistake after mistake. We can keep covering for the likes of Dyer and Dele and Winks. Though Winks has had one good game, that doesn't make up for the games he hasn't played well. And I'm sorry, I've given too much time to them type of players, and I just want them gone. And if I want to go up to Newcastle, fine. I'll get the boat over to England. I'll go drive down to Tottenham, pick them up myself, and leave them there. I just want them players gone. I want players there that will not cost us a mistake in the last minute of a game. Say at the end of the season, we need a point to get Champions League football. Yeah.
Players that won't make a mistake,
Would you be sitting there, this is a question for you, Joe, would you be sitting there comfortably if you had a Dyer at the back, Winks in the midfield, and Dele, say, playing behind in his preferred role? Would you be sitting there comfortably thinking, great, we're going to get this point?
No. I mean, I think
because I know I wouldn't be
going into the Liverpool match as well. Like the Liverpool match, we knew was a big match. We weren't expecting a lot from it, but the moment we saw that starting 11, we were like, "All right, everybody, this is going to be a long one," and we played spectacularly. But is that going to happen again? It's hard to know. It really is hard to know, and it's hard to tell. But,
it is. I just don't trust them, and I've given up trusting them. As much as I'm over the moon how we're playing at the moment, and I am delighted how we're playing, and Spurs are back. We're on the march. The cockerel's crowing. The West Banners are going to they've got knocked out. Them dodgy blue boys down in Stamford Bridge, they're nothing. They're going to get knocked aside. We beat Arsenal in the final, make them cry all the way back to the Emirates. Spurs are back. We never went away. We've just been asleep for a while. Now we've woken up.
Sleeping giant with the bulletproof vest, I'll tell you that. That's what
the Super Spurs are back, and I think next season, I think for the next, say, 3 to 4 years, it's going to be the golden years of Tottenham again.
Oh, that sounds glorious.
And I will go into the bookies tomorrow, and I'll put a bet we'll do the double within the next 4 years. And we'll match the 60-61 side. I'm guaranteed we will. I'm that confident we will.
I'm liking this confidence. It's gonna, bleed on to me. It's gonna, it's gonna help me out. But Kuva 99 quickly. Dermot saying your water is flammable.
I will kill him.
Just keep the matches away. Just keep the matches away.
I'm going to say this now. There's someone that say in my channel, I go, I am Dermot and I'm not an alcoholic. I am not a drinker. But nobody believes me.
No, I think Kuva, he's convinced too many at this rate, Dermot.
He has. So I'll just have to go on with a few cans of beers the next time. Take it from there.
But Kuva 99, really do appreciate it. Loving all the inside jokes as well, brother. And, just all I can say is everybody just keep the matches away from Dermot's water. Just keep the matches away from it. But Dermot, maybe just time for a plug, of yours. Where can people find more of, your beautiful insight, your beautiful optimism, as well as your wisdom, of, the Spurs glory days?
Well, if you want to see Kuva reduce me to a laughing wreck that I nearly passed out, then come over to Southampton Gold. We're there in the morning at 11:30, do the morning shows, and then we do a 5:30 show. Classic matches back from the 80s, 90s. We do debates as well. We're getting people to do their all-time Spurs 11. We had King Arthur, who's Kim's dad, an absolute legend. Did his Spurs 11, which was unbelievable. Sean did his as well this morning. He popped on this morning, did his all-time Spurs 11. So we're there every morning, every evening, and we pop on here or there. And we just it's the YouTube is made by fans for the fans, and that's the way we look at it. But we're looking to get to 200 before the new year. So everyone, please, I think we're 14 subscribers away from 200. Oof. So let's get there. I really would love to. We would love to get there. All of us would love to get there for New Year's. So
let's push them over, everybody. Let's push them over 200 by the end of the year. It'd be a spectacular achievement considering they're such a new channel as well. They're absolutely flying. They're giving you daily content at this rate as well. They're on fire at the moment. Dermot and Kuva and Ben Kaufman and Phil Lattis and plenty others. So if you do enjoy all of them, head on over to Southampton Gold. But Dermot, as always, it's been a pleasure, my man.
It's been a pleasure, Jack, and Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year, brother.
It's good to have you. And big up Bob Spur as well. I hope
big up Bob Spur. Really
we'll get him back on the screen soon. But God bless everyone and Happy New Year.
And Conte we trust, Dermot.
Yeah.
Come on, you
Levy out.
Levy out. And come on, you Spurs. And Conte we trust. Big up, Dermot. Good to have you, brother. Sorry, Dermot, cut you off a bit there, but we'll move on. And also, always a pleasure, Dermot. Always a pleasure, brother. Really good to see you. Really good to have you. Dark Sun G and the building saying, I love how we are beating London teams again. Now imagine if we win our 4 London derbies next month, then Conte will really be a god. Gooners loss and versus a City win. It's just, I don't know. I think it's just going to be spectacular. If Conte gets that win against the scum at home, and maybe potentially gets a result against Chelsea, considering what Chelsea did to us, I think he will have God status. Everybody will just have to start building out their Paratici and Antonio Conte shrines because, we all will need one at a certain rate because we know that what the guy's doing over here is absolute miracles. What he's doing over here is absolute miracles, Dark Sun G. And it's nice to see us winning London derbies again, considering the fact that, with Nuno is probably one of the worst managers we've ever had in history in terms of London derbies. So it's just, I don't know. It's a whole different world. It's a whole different universe, Dark Sun G. And I could not agree more, my man. And really big yourself up for the super chat. Really appreciate the generosity, my man. And I could not agree more. Now we're moving on. Now we're just rolling over London teams at this rate. Hopefully if we roll over the scum, I'll be more confident that we could roll over some of the bigger ones, kind of like a Chelsea. But really appreciate the generosity, Dark Sun G. True Sets Free saying, who was the West Ham fan who blew that first bubble? That was the downfall. And Jack, why would a grown man follow a bubble blower? I don't even know why grown men even blow bubbles anymore. True Sets Free. In fact, I guess maybe that's the one thing, at least when it comes to the holidays, what to buy a West Ham fan. It's a new bubble blow stick. So, at least they're easy to buy for. At least, we know that, they're still a bit kind of novelty. They're still a bit kind of childish for, what they're still interested in. And, they get battered everywhere they go, but, everywhere they go, the bubbles seem to follow them. So I don't know, truth. It's kind of ridiculous at this rate that, grown men and, grown women are blowing bubbles, in their own stadium. It just seems like a bit of it just seems a bit ridiculous. And, to each his own, but it's certainly not allowed in our stadium. I'll tell you that. Anytime they come into our stadium, they should confiscate the bubbles. They really should. Excuse me, but big yourself up, truth. Big yourself up, truth. And also, as always, I love that ripping on the West Spam fans. Really do enjoy it. COVID 99 saying Dermot's urine percentage is weapons grade. Just that's what I say, Kuva. Just keep anything that is potentially flammable away from the urine, away from the water. Just it's all too dangerous. It's all too dangerous. Keep it away. Just keep it away. But Kuva, as always, really appreciate the inside jokes. Really do appreciate the generosity of my man. And Kuva, I'm trying to do a lot at once, but keep your spot in line. I think you're after Frank. Well, I think the running order at this moment in time is Ben Kaufman is next. Then we have Frank. Then we have Kuva 99. So Kuva, just stay on, my man. Hopefully you have enough time to stay on with us. We're just going to keep going as long as we need to. And it's honestly a pleasure to be able to speak with you guys a bit more personally this time, maybe just a bit of a one-on-one kind of, session, of talking Spurs, then maybe a 2-on-1. So if you have anything that you want to kind of say, maybe with David Harris not being here, feel free to do so. But Kuva 99, big yourself up, man. Really do appreciate the generosity. But just making sure I'm not missing anything. We do have Sean Butler, though, in the building. Big up, Sean. Hey, how you doing? And also do let me know if you can do the Southampton match with me tomorrow. If you cannot, we'll just go on regardless. But everybody, Sean Butler, absolute legend of the Harris Army, and he's going to be sticking with us for a while. Sean is, we've really loved having, him as an addition to David and I so far. So everybody, big up Sean in the chat. Absolute legend. So he is. But we are going to move on, just making sure I'm not missing anything. Nuclear piss that glows. Pick up Neil, loving the jokes as well, Neil. Shrikar Ratty saying Dermot's a good man. He's a brother. He's an absolute brother. He really is. He's a saint. I'm not kidding. He is a saint, and he's an absolute warrior. So he is. But Leighton Evelyn, like I said, yep, David's just enjoying a bit of needed time off, hanging out with the outlad, hanging out with the family. It's just he needs the time off. The guy never takes a day off. And so hopefully, he's able to enjoy himself. But everybody, and Celery Agent, I don't think I saw you earlier, but Celery Agent, good to see you, brother. Good to see you as well, Celery Agent. Terry is on the lam after West Ham lost. Yeah, I mean, truth. Or I don't know what the West Spam fans anymore. I really don't. Like I said, it seems like, you're still allowed to blow bubbles at a certain age. It seems like, grown adults are still allowed to blow bubbles in their own stadium. I guess they're allowed to do it in their own stadium, but like I said, truth, they're not allowed to bring it into ours. They're not allowed to bring it into ours, but big yourself up, truth. I mean, at this rate, they're going down. I think it was Sean Butler who even said, the wet spam or the West Ham irrelevancy drip is starting to drip a whole lot faster. They're dropping back down into irrelevancy. So, it's just good to see. It's good to see kind of the earth kind of rotating, the same direction as it was supposed to, back to the days when, wet spam were just an irrelevant team. And hopefully the scum but go back to that stage as well. Truth Sets Free saying Jack Terry was a crazy stream guy. Good to know, Truth. Good to know, my man. And Killian Kenny asking, saying, big up, Jack. Any news on Romero and Galini? Not too sure about Galini, and I'm not really convinced by Galini so far this season. And when it comes to Romero, I mean, we can all wish him, I think he just actually, his wife gave the birth to, I think, their first child. So, congratulations to Cudi Romero. He is a new father, but as well, when Romero, I think he's returning back to injury probably mid-January, I think around like January 15th kind of time period. So, just keep an eye on that. But I'm not too sure on his injury status at this moment in time, my man. But I think that information that I just gave is accurate. Sean Butler also saying Newcastle unlucky not to win tonight. United looked awful. We're going for third, boys and girls. That we are. The scum are maybe going to drop down to fifth or sixth. You'd like to think that maybe Man United are just starting to show that they don't deserve to be in the top four. So I guess, it really is up for grabs more than we ever thought. It really is up for grab more than we ever thought. Tottenham Central Gold saying, Kuva, all I will say is you never beat the Irish. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Dermot. Big up, Dermot. Really appreciate the support. And all I will say, Dermot, is, just with Kuva and the inside jokes, you got to roll with them. You just got to roll with them. He's already convinced too many. He's already convinced too many of, the rumors. So, you're just going to have to roll along with it, Dermot. You're just going to have to roll along with it. Pick yourself up, my man. And we're just going to keep moving on, though. We're going to keep plowing through. Jordan Stevens just want to pick yourself up, my man. He's saying West Ham have already been irrelevant. They thought they were becoming slightly relevant. Yeah, and now they're just back down to irrelevant. So you're absolutely right, my man. You're absolutely right. But Ben Kaufman, we're going to be adding on to another member of Tottenham Tantrum Gold, another philosopher, a flat cap enthusiast. Ben, how you keeping, my man?
Just about all right. It's a good thing to be back from another football game where we didn't get battered everywhere we go, just like some other football teams that exist in the world.
Very true. And, I could not agree more, and at least, when we get battered, we don't have blow sticks that we're carrying in the back pocket as well. But, what are your thoughts maybe on the last match yesterday? I mean, any players in particular that really stuck out for you? Any performances from any players that really stuck out for you?
It's a very professional performance. I would like to have seen us scored a few more goals. We see mostly from the left-hand side on the Reggie. There's too many crosses we could have really got in the bottom. We wasted them. So I'd like to see later in the season us scoring 5, possibly 6 against teams that aren't at the race, especially if they're down to 10 men. But players like Oliver Skip putting in a full Graham Roberts performance. Like every time they even had an inkling of a chance of getting forward, there was Oliver Skip and just shoulder barge them to the ground. Absolutely need that killer instinct, not caring what they think, just hitting them on the ground, not being a soft touch anymore, no soft underbelly, and just able to just control a football match, even with or without the ball. So players like Oliver Skip, Højbjerg didn't have a great game yesterday. He's probably still, he might even just have long COVID and he's just like not fully fit at the moment, but he'll get there. But even those two together, like they're marshalling the midfield, they're holding that 5 at that back with those 5 are a cohesive unit. They don't seem to be looking any weak at the moment. So it's onwards and upwards.
No, it is onwards and upwards. And maybe speaking then, a bit more on, Skippy, Ben, I mean, maybe it's pushing it, maybe it's being a bit dreamy, but, that's what it is over at this channel. But I'm thinking Skippy, the way he plays, the way he moves, the way he receives the ball, the way he carries the ball, the way he gets stuck in, it's almost like, Spurs' own N'Golo Kante.
I think it's a perfect mixture of someone like an N'Golo Kante with like the Modric style of play in terms of being able to, he finds spaces. One of the things what we've all raven about this system we're playing is he's always got 3 or 4 options. Under Nuno, we're always looking at where to look for spaces, but there's always spaces. There's always people for him to find. So it just builds up that space for him to run into the midfield if he ever wants to get the ball and make a run for himself, which is compliments to Sonny and to Moura for finding that space in the number 10 role, which is both of their brilliant positions, especially with Lucas Moura and in what I think is his preferred position. A lot of the time, he's only beating one person when he's out on the right wing. With that number 10 role, Moura is an absolute skin machine. He's brilliant at taking on 5, 6, 7, 8 players. That's what he's good at.
Doesn't matter to him.
Put 8 players ahead of him. That's what he's good at. So finally, we're seeing the best out of Lucas Moura because he's playing in a position I think really suits him. And with his buddy Emerson on the right wing back, it can be an absolute killer partnership.
No, it is a killer partnership. And maybe then, you've moved on to whichever one you want to start with. But I guess I could start you on Lucas Moura. I mean, are we seeing potentially the best of Lucas Moura right now under Antonio Conte? Because we've all known he's a hard worker. We've all known, like you said, he is good at kind of skinning his man, but he's now showing a bit of end product, Lucas Moura is. Is this maybe the best we can get from Lucas Moura?
Well, he's showing end product because he's getting into positions to show an end product. If you're out on the wing all the time, if you're a winger, you've got one job: get past your man and put a cross in the box. That's the job of a winger. But if you're a more of a involved in the mix, as you were, is a music term. If you're more in the mix, you've got to come up with some of your own ideas, and he's very good at coming up with ideas off the cuff, as some other attacking players are. But he's brilliant when he's like, he gets an idea and he does it. He doesn't have to. If he overthinks something, he can mess up. But if he's just coming up with ideas on the cuff, he's brilliant at that. He's brilliant in that role. So hopefully he plays in that role more when we do have to play a 3-4-3, which is another brilliant thing about having this manager is we can play 2 systems now.
Yeah.
And I see that system changing tomorrow, but it's brilliant that we can play 2 systems.
Yeah. No, it is. I think that's a great answer. Then maybe the fact that we can actually pick between the 3-4-3 and that 3-5-2. And, maybe what do you feel like, with Dermot saying, maybe the 3-5-2 is kind of used when we need to be a bit more defensively solid or pragmatic, potentially away from home, like maybe for Southampton tomorrow. Would you want to use that 3-5-2 maybe tomorrow instead of the 3-4-3?
Well, tomorrow, Southampton are a much more expansive team than Crystal Palace. They're very good on the ball. So we need someone like a Winks to get his foot on the ball and start being able to put those passes together. So we are going to need those 3 in midfield, but especially with James Ward-Prowse looming, because he's a brilliant midfielder in that number 10 role. So we do need to play that extra man in midfield just to get control of the game. But it also means we can attack. If we've got 4 players going forward in Reggie, Sonny, Kane and Emerson, it means we can be a bit more defensive, but a bit more attacking at the same time because we have that. We'll have that base. So 3-5-2 definitely. Their centre backs aren't that great, Southampton, which is why they conceded 2 goals yesterday. If we can get Sonny and Kane up against them, I think we can score some goals. Maybe get 3 or 4 again.
I mean, who would you put in that 3-5-2? I completely agree. Great analysis, Ben. Who would you put in that 3-5-2? Who would be your 3-man midfield?
It would be Skippy, Højbjerg, and Winks in behind. So Skip and Højbjerg act as the blockers who take the pressure off Winks, and Winks starts dictating the play. Sort of saying that old Italian system, the playmaker behind the 2 blockers.
Yeah.
Really being able to put those passes out, let Reggie and Emerson create that width.
Interesting. And then maybe Reguilon and Emerson, if they have someone like Skippy and Højbjerg in there as well, they probably know that those guys can track back for them maybe at times and win the ball back for them. So they could probably push even higher than maybe they probably used to, or maybe then, then they might, usually expect them to. So I'm actually kind of in favor of that. I do like that. Would you maybe toss in a Dele Alli or a Tanguy and Ndombele maybe instead of a Skips or a Højbjerg?
I mean, if it comes up to that point and Southampton are showing spaces in behind that Dele can expose, then maybe you could throw him on towards the end of the game while they're tiring out, because they have to play a really long game against West Ham, so they'll be tired. They'll be more tired than us, to be honest. But I was at the game yesterday, and Tanguy was tired after 2 minutes. He could barely run. I mean, I really should have taken a video of it. Like, the man could not run. It's just as a lot of the others have said already, I'm totally done with him. If you're not fit after 3 minutes, it's just like it's not acceptable now. I mean, it's not on the manager, it's not on the players around him, it's on him. And so he's the number one target to get out of the team in my book. We've seen that Dele can put a performance together. He just needs to get some confidence back in him to finish it. But I would still get rid of Dele anyway. But Tanguy, there's nothing there. He's a shadow of what he was at Lyon, and maybe he needs to be back in France with the Farmer League.
I like it, Ben. I like it. Faz Radfire saying, let's keep winning and improving. Goal difference. Big up, Jack. Big yourself up, Faz. And maybe, what are your thoughts on this, Ben? I mean, answer this with me. I mean, the fact that Antonio Conte has practically repaired, some of the goal difference, kind of ratio that we had under Nuno, which was just atrocious. I thought, it couldn't be repaired, the damage that was done by Nuno. But yet Antonio Conte, we're scoring goals, we're keeping clean sheets. I mean, could you have predicted this? Antonio Conte coming in, like, I didn't think that goal difference was going to be repaired so soon.
It's why you get an elite manager in and you pay him the £16 million a year. He's playing our players in the right position, and it's showing he's playing the right players in the right position. It's not rocket science, really. If you play the right players, they're not conceding goals. They're showing true leadership. They're not stopping the goals, and he's inspiring them. If you can't get inspired by a garden gnome that sits like this the entire time, you've got to be inspired by your chief. And we're not conceding goals because we've got a proper manager in charge. It's coaching them properly. They now look like a properly coached unit.
Yeah, Yeah, they do look like a properly coached unit. They, in fact, seem to actually know what they're doing out there. They know what their roles are. They know what their instructions are. They know what the tactics are. I completely agree. True Sets Free saying Ben Kaufman 2024, vote now. Well, a bit early. I mean, seriously, Ben. I mean, we got a big fan club, in the Harris Army. And in fact, they think you should probably run for office. I would say, stay away from the politics, Ben. Maybe run for office inside the Spurs hierarchy.
Oh, you could think about that eventually. The boss definitely doesn't want me getting in politics in his local community. It's a shit show and a half. So maybe not, but maybe it's a plan. But it all
Maybe a
depends.
director of football role, a scout role of some sort, or head of logistics of some kind. Maybe at the Spurs, maybe run for a position there.
I'll just be head of coffee. That's good enough for me. That's a job that's a job I'm fully qualified for.
Well, Levy, he likes, the fill up, cups from the bottom. Maybe he could probably pay for maybe an expensive sort of, kind of espresso, kind of system, or an expensive coffee, kind of a system there. So, I would say, Levy, watch this space, Daniel Levy. Keep an eye on Ben Kaufman. Big up Truth, absolute legend. But, what are your thoughts maybe on Emerson so far this, season? That was probably his best display, kind of going forward. I mean, are you convinced by Emerson? Do you feel like you still need to see, a whole lot more? What are your thoughts on him?
We need to show a big thank you to Detrex Kane for jinxing him before the football match. So thank you, Detrex. Everyone give a round of applause for Detrex. So hopefully he says every single player is terrible before the game tomorrow. So they all play absolute worldies.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's grown into the team and he's been coached properly. He's been coached how to get into those proper positions. And it goes back to your point. He knows if the ball does break and there's a turnover of possession, Skipper Højbjerg is either going to win the ball back or they're going to take the bastard out. So he's not worried, or he's not got his eyes in the back of his head worried about whether he's going to defend in 5 minutes. He's got the right people behind him. Even Sanchez could cause a stop in possession. And that's the way we need to start. All the best teams have the dark arts in them. You've got to stop the game if you see somewhat dangerous. Pick up a yellow card. The best teams have the most yellow cards, and we need to start doing that.
Great answer, Ben. Harry Kane opening the scoring, for us, a few times now. In fact, he's not getting the third or the second goal. He's opening the scoring for us. He opened it for Liverpool. He opened it for this match, with Palace. I mean, Harry Kane, is he back?
I mean, the best thing about him scoring is he wasn't really that involved in the game, which is exactly what you want from your striker. You only want them to be involved when they get the ball in and around the 25-yard box, because a striker's job is to only focus on scoring. That is his job. If he needs to drop deep and put a pinger of a ball, which he did a few of those really, really great pingers to Emerson, and the pre-assist for the second goal was a pinger from Harry Kane. But you only want him involved in the final third. The more he's running about and trying to do things, the more tired his brain's going to be. I only want him to think about getting the ball, putting it in the back of the net. That's what he needs to do. So that's he's not overtired, which means when he does get a half chance, he's burying it, which is what Harry Kane does. So it's a massive, massive compliment to Antonio Conte again for knowing that Harry Kane is a predator and keep the predators where they're the best at being predators.
Oh, I'm loving these quotes, everybody. Everybody write down these quotes from Ben. They're fantastic. Southampton tomorrow. Are they kind of a team that maybe shouldn't be underestimated, considering, they've had some good results? Of course, they just got some result against West Ham. I think they got a good result at one stage against Chelsea. They gave, obviously, Man City a good match at one stage as well. Do you feel like they're a team, especially since we'll be away from home, maybe we shouldn't underestimate them?
No, but they've got a very good coach with them, with Hasenhüttl. He's a very underrated German coach.
I think he is as well. I think he's overperforming there.
Yeah. I think they will be exhausted because they went for a ringer against West Ham. But unlike West Ham, we don't get battered everywhere we go. So I think we're gonna get a result against them. I don't see us conceding goals at this moment in time. We just need to hold the game, control that midfield, and stop in. Hopefully, not make stupid fouls. As I saw a couple of comments say, if James Ward-Prowse gets a free kick in the 25-yard box, it's a goal. That's why I'd sign him, because he's unbelievable at what he does. So as long as we're not stupid and we keep our heads in the game, I see nothing but 3 points in my book. people are being too pessimistic. Maybe they've been watching me for too long and they've got a bit of Jewish insecurity, as I call it. So we need to stop being pessimistic. We've got a proper manager. We've got a proper team. We're going to win tomorrow. That's the only thing I can see.
I'm liking that. I'm liking that, Ben. I really am. I do actually feel the same way, but, especially since our away record of course, most of it was under Nuno. And in fact, Antonio Conte, maybe quickly, Ben, most of his matches, we have to admit, have actually been played at home. So do you feel like, things might change a bit considering he will be away from home this time?
I mean, he's an elite level football manager. So, and these players have played in away games before. The only thing you've got to think about is the team you're playing against, not about the fans in the stand, not about every Tom, Dick and Harry you see. The only thing you've got to do is your job, which is turn up and beat Southampton. That is their job tomorrow, and they need to execute it to perfection. They'll have a plan. They'll be talking about this plan all week. They'll probably have thought about this game more than the Crystal Palace game, to be honest, in my opinion. I mean, the Crystal Palace, they were a pushover yesterday, especially with the idiots in their team doing stupid things. But so they're not pushovers, but we should beat them.
What are your thoughts on the Zaha red card? Some have said that, the first foul made by him was probably not a yellow. I mean, what do you feel like? Fair for him to be sent off?
No, it was a clear red card. It's just like there was no chance for him winning the ball. He clipped his ankles. It was late. It's a yellow card. In any part of the pitch, whether it's near your, if the ball's gone and you kick out at a player, it's a yellow card. And the second one should have been a straight sending off because it's petulant. It's stupid. It's too much force. It's like it was unnecessary. So it probably could have been a red. So it's a clear sending off. I don't like Jermaine Genius, our buddy, giving them too much leeway, being nice to his mates. But it was a clear red card. It's like anyone with a brain can see it's a red card. So sorted.
Great, Ben. I'm loving these answers. I mean, final answer, final question here. You're blowing through them with, just beautiful efficiency and beautiful answers. If you could spend maybe 40 to 50 million, spend big on, a certain position, to upgrade or, replace, this upcoming January transfer window, where would it be? Would it be in the striker position? Would it be in the midfield? Would it be in the back line? I mean, where would you spend the big money?
I'm going to follow with my co-host, Mr. Dermot, and say we should buy a Matthias de Ligt if we can get hold of him. We need to have another ruthless quality centre half that can score from headers as well. We absolutely need a winning defence is a winning championship mentality. And we've shown that we can play without Harry Kane because we're shown that with Bergwijn play, I would still get a striker in January if it's physically possible. But I would definitely sign a Matthias de Ligt if it's available, and if Mino Raiola doesn't try and screw us over with wages and whatnot. I would definitely get a Matthias de Ligt and a proper centre back.
Great answer, Ben. Great answer. Well, Ben, I mean, you've blown through, all the questions I have available. You've absolutely bossed it, my man. Honestly, world class, Colin. Any places where people can find you? Maybe any final words, maybe any final words of wisdom, and where can people find you?
You can find me every morning, usually, not during this moment of time. I'm going for a bit of ill health. So you can usually find me at Tottenham Gold in the morning from 11 at 11:30 for about an hour. And you can find me at the Coffee Company, which we're on a current hiatus from our year. But you can find us at the Coffee Company for all your coffee needs. And you can find me here every Monday evening talking about some nonsense. So keep an eye out for everything we have to offer.
Love it. And any maybe final words of wisdom, any final words of inspiration for the Harris Army?
Just keep believing. We've now shown we've got a proper football team. We've got a proper manager in charge. We've got a proper managing director in charge of the team. I can only see upwards from here. So we need to stop being pessimistic. I think we will get top four, especially all the games we're showing are we should be winning. So I see us winning a trophy this year, which is crazy, really. Which is crazy. So I see us doing well this year. So look out for this team and support the team. Up the Spurs.
Watch this space. Big up, Ben. But Ben, it's a pleasure to speak with you. Honestly, very insightful answers, very efficient answers, beautiful answers, my man. Great Colin. It was a pleasure to speak with you. And in Conte and we trust, in Conte we believe. Come on, you Spurs.
Happy New Year to everyone.
Happy New Year, Ben. Enjoy yourself, my man. Great to see you. Great to call and speak with you. And we'll talk to you soon, brother. Peace. Everybody, honestly, world-class call-in by Ben. World-class call-in. He really answered everything quickly. In fact, I was trying to think to myself, maybe I could have come up with a few more questions because he's just blowing through them. He's answering them so efficiently as well. Just a few, comments in the building here. Just I think from Alex de Figueroa, though, saying, Jack, what's your opinion on Kessié, and where and who and for who would you pay him for, and then Skip as well? I think, to be honest, Kessié, I think he's world class. I think he's an unbelievable player. I think he would be that ball carrying sort of Metsala kind of central midfielder that we could bring into the side. I think he's just unbelievable, to be honest. Kessié, I'd almost pay any price for him, but you don't have to at this moment in time because you can actually speak with him to maybe signing him on a free for the summer. Personally, I feel like we kind of need him now. And so that's my kind of bit of a concern. I feel like we need to bring him in now. I'd probably maybe trade, potentially someone like a Tanguy and a Kessié. I'd definitely swap those two and it'd probably pay, let's say, 10, 15 million and then give them Tanguy and Dembele. I think that would be a good way to go about it. I think he's world-class, Kessié is, and I would absolutely take him. And I think you could still place, I think you then could play the 3-5-2 a bit better because you could do Skip, Højbjerg, and Kessié all in the same side in that 3-5-2. And I think that would work out perfectly if you ask me. Just making sure I'm not getting to other. As Zanuska is joining us as well. Zanuska, absolute legend. Hopefully you're keeping well. And also hopefully you're staying safe, actually, Zanuska, as well, considering I know you live in the West Ham area and, you have to kind of keep your Spurs fandom, a bit on the down low. But hopefully you're keeping well. Absolute queen of the Harris Army. So she is. Big yourself up, Zanuska. Absolute legend. And just making sure I'm not missing any others. Just making sure. And also Faz Rapart wishing everybody a happy holidays. Big yourself up. And Alexander Hill tonight. Well, I believe, is that Ivorian or, Ivory Coast, international that you mentioned before? Maybe it was. I'll keep an eye on him. And I definitely will keep an eye on him, but I think we're going to move on, everybody. I think we're going to move on and we're going to bring on Frank, Paranormal Yido, as he's called, from the Harris Army. Frank, how you keeping, my man? And also, what are your thoughts maybe on yesterday's match?
Oh, I just loved it. What happened to David today? Did he? Let me guess. Let me do a David for you. He probably called you and said, he was like, "Oh, Jesus Christ, Jack! Oh, Jesus! I just woke up. I just got fucking drunk last night. I tell you, I woken up with 3 girls. I don't know who they are, but can you do the show?" Is that what happened?
Unfortunately, quite the opposite, Frank. Unfortunately, quite the opposite. I think he's enjoying a bit of needed time with the outlet, actually, Frank. I think he's enjoying a bit of time with the father, and also just a bit of, I don't think he's been able to hang around and really take a real day off or a real few days off before. He's a hard worker, he is. And
well, he's got a good friend with you, Jack.
For a few days.
He's got a good friend with you, Jack. You step in and
part of the business.
Right, that's good to see. I just want to say, I went and found a Facebook post I put up in one of my favorite Tottenham groups. This was from 2 years ago, and I said 3 players to watch out for that will make Tottenham a championship team, and everybody jumped on me and screamed at me. I said Skip. All right, I was watching him. Pre-Norwich, okay. I watched him actually training back in 2018 when I was in England. I went to Hotspur Way and watched training, and him and Son was in a foot race, and he could keep up with Son. And I said to myself, if he can put a bit of muscle on, I think he'll be good for us. And then I saw him in Norwich, and now look where he is. And I said 2 years ago, Skip will be a big part of a cog in our wheel. And I also said, Lucas Moura, you know how I feel about Lucas Moura. I said, don't give up on Lucas Moura. He still has a few steps to take if he gets plugged in with the right manager. And then number 3, I said, Sanchez, don't give up on Sanchez. I said, when you play him at left centre back, he doesn't play well. You got to keep him on the right side of the centre field. And when he's on the right side, his stats are good. Just look him up when he plays on the right, when he plays right centre back. Now he's in the back 3, which I think is perfect with him. Okay. His duties are kind of, but he's still covering for Dyer and everything. They're working very well together, Dyer and Sanchez and when Davis. Tanganga did well yesterday. So
yeah. They all complement each other. Just quickly, Killian Kenny, haven't been able to do the stats with Jack just because the games are kind of coming so thick and fast at this moment in time. It also was the holidays as well. So I did, as well, couldn't really work as, as usually hard as I would probably like to. But, the stats and Jack, they will come back very, very soon. Hopefully, probably by maybe after the new year. I think they should be coming. They should be coming thick and fast once again. I'm glad that you're a fan of it, Killian Kenny. So there's your answer. And in terms of my score prediction that you also asked, I'm going for a 2-0 tomorrow. That's what I'm going for. But back to where you were, Frank, you were talking about Sanchez and Davies and Dyer all complementing each other.
Mr. Kenny, give the boys a break, man. They've been doing this full time for us. It's the holidays, give them a little break. They can't be there for us 24/7, but they've done a great job so far. That's why I've been attracted to them. I've come here to the Harris Army, and I knew David last year when he was with Maddie, so I was one of the first ones to follow. And I said to Maddie, I said, whatever you do, hang on to David. He's a star.
He's a star. He's a star.
That's why I become a member. I became a gold member because I believe in David and I believe in Jack. And I think I want to get this. I want this group to get up there, like as high as like the Expressions or We Are Tottenham TV, because I feel there's a genuine grassroots feeling in this channel. So people can, whoever it can be, right? You can speak your opinion, and even if you disagree, we have a kind of a camaraderie where we respect each other's opinion. So, like I suggested making more a wing back, especially when we're playing a 3-5-2.
Speaking of Lucas Moura, what was your? Are we seeing the best of Lucas Moura right now?
No,
I know he's always been. He can be better.
Still more to come. Yeah. Conte, he's finally got a manager that's plugging in with Lucas. You're gonna see lots out of Lucas. I would like to see. I love the 3-4-3 with Lucas on the wing, and then when we go and play Southampton, I'd like to see the 3-5-2. But that if we play the 3-5-2, that cuts Lucas out. So that's why I suggested maybe we should try. I wish Conte would experiment with him in a 3-5-2 and have Lucas as a wing back, and then put him back as a winger in the 3-4-3. But that's not going to happen. I don't think that's just a theory of mine that I'd like to see. But I just think we have to utilize Moura in every game, in every competitive game we play. So, and I do like the 3-5-2 that we played against Liverpool. I mean, obviously, if you got Winks and Dele to play very well against Liverpool in that formation, it's obviously like imagine having Skip Holberg, in the starting position with in the 3-4-3, or if I was sorry in a 3-5-2. Who else would be in there? Skip. You'd have Skip Holberg. Who would be the third in the midfield? Maybe. Who would you want? Would you want a Dele, a Tanguy? Ndombele, like I just don't trust him. Yeah. He could stop running on the vital counter, and all of a sudden and then a pass comes back where he should be covering, and there's a man free coming in for a shot. So I just don't trust him. I'd rather put Dele in there. I'd rather give Dele a run of games. If we're going to play a bit of a 3-5-2 and mix it up with a 3-4-3, I'd love to see Dele back in there at the 3-5-2 with Skip as the CDM and Holberg and Dele as the two in front of Skip. And then you have Kane and Son as the two up front, and then you'd have Emerson Royal on the right and Reggie on the left. But yeah, I mean, I have a funny feeling Conte's really smart. He told the lads in the second half, get a third goal if you can, but don't run yourselves into the ground.
Yeah.
He's like, keep possession. If you can nick one here, if we do nick one, just, we're like, I'll bring subs on and then we'll just ride out the game.
He told them to come out probably fast and hard. Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah. And, so that was probably the planning. I think he probably, like the other guy said, I think it was Ben. I think Ben said that he probably had a bit of planning with Southampton. I think he
Right.
did. I think he, because of the games are so close, I think he everything went the way he wanted. Conte, he wanted to score in the first half, get 2 goals in the first half. It happened. Now he can relax, and then Zaha, I don't know what the hell he was. I mean, look, I didn't think it was a yellow card, the first one. But the second one, that's a pure up red card. That's unnecessary roughness. That's just petulance. Like, I mean, you can't grab someone by the back of their collar and then ram them, force them into the ground. That's
Especially when the ball was already out of play when you think about it as well.
Yeah,
Like,
it's got to be a straight up red. I don't, so all the Arsenal say, oh, you beat Palace with a red. I'm like, all right, buddy, we're
already 2-0 up as well.
We're up 2-0. I was like, the game was over when Zaha got sent off, I said, that's typical Gooners. They just watch highlights and think, or they just look at they go on some site and they see a red card and they figure, oh, Tottenham won easy because of a red card. They didn't know, like, they don't understand, the mentality, yeah. So, but very happy. One quick point too.
Sure.
Just remember, lads and girls, there's some great girls that support the channel too. Much love to you girls, because some of you girls can bring up strategy that some guy, they're just as well talented with their thinking of how football and formations and stuff. So that, never underestimate a woman with a good mind when it comes to tactics, especially when it comes to boyfriend and girlfriends. That's a joke.
We're all equal. We're all equal with the tactics. We're all equal with the insight.
Let's take the kettle off the cooker. We're a boiler at the moment, feeling like we're invincible. Okay, we're in the honeymoon. We're in the honeymoon stage. Everybody gets a honeymoon. Even Nuno got a honeymoon. Okay, he won his first 3 games, and we were feeling like, oh, we could be a defensive. As long as we're winning, who cares? But I didn't like. I knew Nuno wouldn't last. What Conte brings, though, is like, well, you'll see what the magic of Conte when we get bashed. We're going to get bashed one time. When we get bashed, that's when you'll see Conte's excellence. That whole week, he'll be so mad at them that they'll never make that mistake again. Prior managers like Mourinho, you know what I mean? If they got blasted, he'd start blaming people. He'd start blaming, what can I say? I didn't play. But I think, we're doing okay, but we haven't. Look, I want to see us to win again. I want to see. We should have beat Liverpool. I want us to see us go and beat Chelsea, Arsenal, and Man United. The upcoming games. I want us to really push to go for a dominance of a domino effect, to be dominant against strong teams. And we're gonna lose one of these. I think we're gonna lose probably to a Chelsea. Okay. But I think we might get them in, the second leg. I just think that there's a big loss going to happen, and the reaction to that loss, it will tell us if Conte has everybody still, if he still has what we think he has with everybody in the squad. That's when we'll know that Conte has everyone on board. That's when. So let's not pump our chest. I'm not going to pump my chest out too much. When I've gone to the banter rooms, I've been kind of, we haven't beaten anybody impressive yet. Okay. So let's just let's just be happy. Let's smile. It's comfortable. We feel comfortable for a change. We're confident, but let's not, there is going to be a bad loss coming. And that's when we're going to see if Conte has everybody fully engaged and see the rebound. Because when Mourinho lost the big game last year, we lost the second game afterwards badly. I forget the 2 games. They were back-to-back games that Jose lost, and he never seemed to get the squad back last season after those 2 back-to-back losses. I think there was 3 actually. Jack, was there 3 losses we had last season? Back-to-back.
And
on the Premier League,
Mourinho at a certain stage, I believe it was. I think it was I think it might have been that Zagreb, Arsenal, kind of a run at a certain stage.
And I think that's when he totally lost the squad.
Yeah.
And so, in my humble opinion, I believe let's see what happens when we take a loss. You know what I mean? We get a loss that we shouldn't have lost. And let's see how we rebound. If I see a Tottenham that rebounds and scores and wins 5-1 the next game, I know that whole squad is now Conte's squad. And that's.
I think a result against, potentially the Scum or, Chelsea could easily be maybe the sign. I'm with you. These are still teams that we should be rolling over. These are still teams that we should win comfortably. But I guess maybe the argument is that these were never games that we were winning comfortably in the last season or two. Then maybe that's what's different now is we're going into these sort of matches, extremely confident in what we can achieve. So, I mean, I think you're spot on, Frank. I mean, what are your maybe impressions of maybe, Southampton? Is this more of a tougher fixture than we'd
definitely.
like to think?
Don't feel comfortable with this fixture. Don't go in here. Tomorrow, girls and boys, don't think it's going to be a 2-3-0. It's going to be a 1-0 or a 2-1. It's going to be a hard-fought fight. And I do believe Conte will go back to the 3-5-2 because Southampton do have some good midfielders, and they have a strong midfield. So we can't, on the road in their place, Southampton. I went to Southampton many a times, and they're a good home team. They have a good set of fans and a good tradition in Southampton, and they're very proud, and they don't like losing at home. So I'm telling you, it's going to be a tough. I'll be very surprised if we go out and win 3 or 4-0.
Me as well.
I don't see it. I don't see it. But and I have to say, I'm very impressed with Emerson Royal. He has just every game he's taken a little notches up, and his offensive play has just come in. It's starting to click in. Defensively, he's beautiful. Defensively, he's been doing wonders in the back. But he's been improving on his offensiveness. So he's kind of getting to feel who he's playing with. He's almost half a season in, and now he kind of knows where a Holberg will be, a Skip, a Son of Kane. He knows wherever he's centered in the pitch, he doesn't really have to look up that much. He knows where everyone should be, wherever the ball is. He should know where the players should be.
Right.
And he's reacting faster and faster and faster. And so is Skip. Skip, the more time he's getting in with this team, the faster he's reacting, and the more time his brain's getting faster, and he's making passes. Yeah, he's making more forward passes, but I would like to see Winksy given another run out because I was really impressed.
Potentially tomorrow in a 3-5-2, would you put Winksy in there?
Yeah, I would. You know what? I think he deserves it. I wouldn't mind seeing him with Holberg and Skip and Winks, and just let them just dominate and fight and tear apart the midfield, and let the four, let Kane, Son, Reggie, and Royal have the leftovers. You know what I mean, of the fight from the midfield. You know what I mean? We might get some quick passing, quick cut-ins, quick crosses. You know what I mean? It'll break my heart, though, that Moura probably won't be playing because he deserves to play. It's going to be a tough decision for Conte. It's going to be tough. If he goes with a 3-4-3, I'll be a little bit nervous. But then, let's just get behind him and say, look, that he's going to try and go to score goals. And it's a tough one, Jack. I don't know, but whatever. But you know what? I am not.
We'll trust in Conte.
Basically the last few managers. I'm not. I'm fully engaged with Conte. He is my favorite manager of all time. Not for Tottenham, obviously, but as an unbiased opinion, I think Conte is the best in the world, and I think I've always wanted him at Tottenham. So I'm just static. All I'm saying is I don't want to be humbug on this. I'm just saying, lads, let's just take it easy. Let's see when we get our first bad loss. And let's see, hopefully we react with that Conte snake viciousness and strike back. Okay. So, but we're happy. Let's go into Southampton. Let's get the win. And if we get the win, Manchester United drew today. We're definitely in 5th place. Arsenal are just keeping 4th place warm for us. We should be charging them rent. They're just keeping it warm, okay? and we'll be chucking them out. You know what I mean? Very soon. I don't think they're not playing tomorrow, so we should catch up one game. So they're postponed. So
Manchester United are keeping spots. They're just not showing their worth, and then Arsenal are just paying the rent. In that fourth place position for us. I completely agree. Frank, absolute pleasure.
My
you
pleasure.
had beautiful things to say. Loving your insight on the tactics. Loving your, faith in Lucas Moura. Loving your, original faith in Skippy. I must say, quite impressive.
2 years ago, I said, watch out for him, and everyone said to me, he's a kid. You're stupid. And I'm like, no, he'll be playing with us soon.
There you go. There you go. So, I'm absolutely loving it, Frank. But it was a pleasure to speak with you. Thank you for keeping the faith in us. Thank you for keeping the support in us. Really do appreciate it, my man. And we'll be catching you very soon. And in Conte we trust, and in Conte we believe.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And you can catch me with my my new channel. Will be going up January the 4th. It's called Culturally Frank. It's just about
great name.
It's about life. It's about culture, about music, movies. You know what I mean? So, if any of you lovely people would like to come along and want to talk about life in general, nothing heavy, music, movies, anything, right? The universe, whatever we kind of want to discuss, we can talk about. So, Culturally Frank, that will be starting 8 p.m. UK time on January the 4th. Please come and subscribe. I really appreciate it if you subscribe to Culturally Frank at YouTube. And lots of love to the gang. And listen, hopefully by tomorrow night, we'll be 3 points behind the scum with 2 games in hand. And I'm going to break a rule. If we win tomorrow, I never smoke the devil's lettuce during the week. I only do it on the weekend. But if we win tomorrow and we're 3 points behind Arsenal, I'm going to have a puff. All right.
There you go. Well,
so
appreciate
love
it, Frank.
Love you all. Take
love
care.
You, Frank. Thanks for being on. Thanks for coming on. Good to see you, brother. We'll catch you very soon. In Conte we trust, in Conte we believe. Peace out. Absolutely. All right, everybody. There it was from Frank. A bit of the words of wisdom, especially, and always good to speak with him. Always good to speak with him. But we're going to keep moving on, everybody. We're going to keep moving on. Just making sure I'm not missing anything from anybody in the chat. But we're going to keep moving on. And we do have Kuva 99 next. We have Kuva 99, one of the designated comedians of the Harris Army. Kuva, how you keeping, my man?
I'm great here. Thanks, Jack. How about yourself?
Not doing that bad, to be honest. Kind of just, being able to have more of a one-on-one kind of therapy session, it feels like, with a lot of the Harris Army here instead of the 2-on-1 situation. And, maybe getting, kind of interesting insights that maybe we wouldn't get with Harris, David Harris in here. But who knows? But, Kuva, about the game, I mean, what are your impressions? What maybe were your takeaways from yesterday's match?
I'll see what I can do on day 2 of my hangover. So
maybe I'll start you off nice and easy.
Yeah, it's a struggle, but
Lucas Moura, the best we're seeing at Lucas Moura. Is this finally what we've been expecting?
He's now starting to look like the complete player, which is awesome. It's big trouble for a few other teams, that's for sure. He has end product now. That's what was missing. We knew that. We've all been saying it. Even his biggest fans must have known, there's something lacking too often from his game. And Conte seems to be getting that out of him now. So it gives him a big headache, because how does he fit into a 3-5-2 formation when I can't see us playing 3-4-3 all the time? So what do you do with Moura? Is he going to develop even further? Is he perhaps going to become the partner up front with Kane sometimes, or is he going in a sort of free floating role instead of having a number 10? There's a few options there anyway, but you've got to have him in the team now, haven't you?
He feels a bit undroppable. You're right.
Yeah, I think firstly about the Crystal Palace game, something I don't think gets quite enough attention is Zaha's sending off. Just how funny that was. I don't think we've laughed enough at that. What an absolute plank. We've dodged that bullet. Such an idiot. Can't stand him. Ponces around like some demented gazelle half the game. Argues with the referee. Looks at the referee thinking, it's outrageous I'm being booked for this. He just blatantly pushed Sanchez down. What are you thinking?
The ball was also out of play. I think someone mentioned in the comments as well. Like the ball was out of play, and he just decided to, just sweep his legs and throw him to the ground. Also, I think anytime, maybe let's break this down, Kuva. I mean, a lot of people have made the argument maybe the first challenge wasn't a yellow. We can debate all day on that. But would you feel like the second challenge that he made on Sanchez, maybe the argument is saying that, that was practically a straight red?
Well, if you can get penalized for stupidity, then he's out for the season. But I mean, it's just so needless, wasn't it? It was absolutely pathetic. That's what's made it so funny. So I'm thinking there'll be bloody the Gooner Pratt and the manager. Even forget his name now. Jesus Christ, Vieira is he's going to be coming back from his COVID. Best players not available. Perhaps Palace, a few losses under the belt. Then staring at relegation. Oh, it's lovely. I sort of hope they get relegated this season because Crystal bloody Palace. Nobody cares about them. Now they got the Vieira. It's an object of like disdain. You don't just walk past it now. Now you want to wipe your feet on them when you go past. Just because of that ex-Guno sort of link. But it was just funny, and it was just sweet revenge, wasn't it?
Well, it kind of felt like written in the stars a little bit.
It was a little bit.
It felt scripted almost, and maybe it was nice that Sanchez did what he, Tanganga, is maybe just a bit too young, to play that sort of game, with Zaha. And this time Sanchez, kind of, maybe did the work that Tanganga, I bet Tanganga probably was just hiding, coy smile, off to the side, kind of watching him go by. And honestly, I feel like I'm actually probably the happiest person in the building was seeing Tanganga see the back of him, considering probably how unfairly he got sent off as well against Zaha. Because I think you take yourself back to the Crystal Palace match, like felt like Tanganga and Zaha should have been sent off in that first match between the two of them.
I think the only thing Tanganga did wrong in the first one is he didn't shin him. He should have sparked him clean. That would have been worth it.
I still feel like when he raised Zaha off the ground, it was like he was hoisting, like a newborn baby or something like that, like showing him off to the crowd. Completely agree.
Absolutely. Anyway, it was just hilarious. I really enjoyed that. It was almost as enjoyable as hearing Klopp whining. So more of that. Pity we didn't have a sort of post-conference with Vieira because he could have been coughing up all his anger at what happened and having a good little cry about his team's not doing very well. It's nice. But it's made for a nice Christmas run-in so far, hasn't it?
No, Zaha sent off as a good like Christmas present.
It is.
Do you want to take this somewhere else? But I was going to ask you about Emerson and maybe, what are your impressions of him so far this season? It felt like his biggest criticism, which I think is a very, very necessary criticism, is that he hasn't really produced very much creatively or going forward. And we all know that's one of the main necessities of a wide wing back, especially in this formation. Felt like that was his first time ever really showing any sort of, product going forward. What are your impressions of Emerson so far?
Yeah, I think he struggled all season with that. Like I said, when I've been on the call in before, it's like you've got half a wing back. The defensive side was there.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was promising what we saw against Palace. I mean, that was a great cross for Lucas, wasn't it?
No, it was, and also Lucas with the human missile, kind of header to the back.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, they're total commitment for it. I mean. Yeah, when Lucas is on that kind of form, you just got to love him. Otherwise, Emerson, I'm still on the fence about him. I think there's a lot more to come, but there's encouragement now rather than a sort of sneaking suspicion that he's not quite going to make it. It's maybe he can do something after all. He's just taken a while to settle in, perhaps. I mean, it must be difficult coming in from foreign league and slotting in immediately. I mean, we all say this, but when it actually comes to allowing players time, we're not very good for that, are we? There's a great impatience being a fan. There always will be. It's just natural. It's just what happens. So perhaps come next season, he might be feeling a little bit more at home. But I wouldn't be surprised if we're signing a right wing back.
Yeah, I think do you feel like it's the same situation as it was with Region, where last season Region didn't have any competition there, and we kind of were just left wondering what if maybe there could be something better or just something to compete with. And maybe with Emerson, it's kind of the same scenario where there's really nothing that he's competing with at this moment. And so we're just kind of left scratching our heads like maybe we could have something a bit, better in terms of competition there.
Yeah, because you look at his competition at the moment, Doherty, there's nothing there. He just hasn't got the pace for it. I mean, he's just simply not capable of doing that role.
If he was good going forward, he would be good competition for Emerson, but he's not really good at either.
He just hasn't got the engine to get up up and down the pitch in enough time to be any use. It's the one primary requisite for wing backs at so many clubs, so many top clubs. You've got to have that pace. You've got to have that stamina. Be an incredible athlete. That's why Kyle Walker's always done so well. It's the two things he's got in abundance: the pace and the stamina. And you look what a coach like Pep can do with him. I mean, he did well enough with us, but he just stepped up that little bit under Pep, hasn't he?
No, he has. You're absolutely
if only we had him in his prime under Conte. That'd be insane.
I'm in full belief that I still think to this day Kyle Walker is, once he retires, he'll go down as actually one of the best fullbacks, in a long time. Not even just Spurs, just in general Premier League history, because the guy really once he came into Pep's team, he really did have it all. He kind of showed that he has it all, especially at his age. He is quite remarkable. But a bit less, about Kyle Walker. Let's talk about our, kind of starlet, Skippy. I've kind of likened him, Kuva, to practically being our own N'Golo Kanté. I mean, what would you make of that?
That's possibly a better comparison than a lot I've heard.
Because I think he has that engine, he carries the ball well, he wins the ball back high up the pitch. He kind of also saves you defensively, kind of like Conte does. Sometimes we don't notice how much N'Golo Kanté, he'll kind of, snuff something out, or he'll, kind of stop a passage of play, in the right moment. And also is a good ball carrier and is good at just getting up and down the pitch, kind of like Conte is. So maybe they're similar players. You're right.
It's all there, isn't it? I mean, before we looked at what sort of players are you going to shape into, and there was the assumption he was going to be a defensive midfielder. He's clearly got a lot more to offer than just that. So Conte's a good comparison. I mean, Skip's really showing that bit of everything. Is that going to be his strength, that he is the complete all-rounder in the middle? Let's hope so, because that makes him gold dust, because literally fill in at any position when needed as well. How can you not love him as well? Just that cheeky little grin when he's misbehaving. He loves getting stuck in. Crowd pleaser. I mean, the roof's gonna come off when he scores his first goal for us. It really will.
Do you feel like, especially we'd like to think probably with the younger kind of generation of players, that knack for, kind of wanting to get stuck in, that knack for, liking a bit of the dark arts. You sometimes like to think maybe it's lost on the younger generation, but to a degree, you might say Skippy's a bit of an exception.
Yeah, every now and then you get a player comes in, a bit of fire in their belly, and they just make it a little bit special for you. I mean, although I didn't rate him, Dele Alli had that sort of hint of
he did. You're right.
Yeah, that hint of the devil, didn't he? It's good to see. And I agree with you, Jack. I do like to see players just say, let the opposition know that you're about sometimes when the ref isn't noticing.
Certainly, I just love, you're right, the coy smile that I give all the time as well.
Yeah.
It just really is just.
It's like things like Lamella as well. I mean, people hated him for it. But remember against Chelsea, Battle of the Bridge, and he's just strolling past and just steps on what's his face's hand,
raking players, legs and things like that.
Who was it now? It was the ex-Gooner. Oh god, it's gone again. I'm really going senile. Can't remember names.
I'll try to help you maybe later. Maybe about the 3-4-3 versus the 3-5-2. I mean, is there a formation that you prefer? Are you just kind of happy that we have those two systems at our disposal? And which one would you see? I know it's a loaded question here, but which one would you maybe see us playing tomorrow against Southampton?
So hang on, there's just a couple said it in chat there. Fabregas. That's when
Oh,
Lamella
yeah,
stood on
he was-
Fabregas's hand,
there it is.
just strolling past, like, oh, accidentally stood on his hand. Yeah, I just thought, yeah, that's it's just so outrageous, and he got away with it. Never mind.
Back in the good old days.
I mean, if it had been another team or another player, well, it would have been. He shouldn't have done that, but since it's him, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
We'll let it go. Sorry, yeah. Anyway, 3-5-2 formation. That is definitely how I see us going forward. Personally, I think we look better when we're in that formation. There's more solidity, and it does allow for those really fast breaks. And I think we still seem to be at our best when we're counter-attacking very swiftly.
I agree.
We gave, like against the Norwich game, I think that was probably the perfect example of it. Gave them loads of the ball. They had loads of possession. And people saying, well, why are Norwich getting so much possession? We just point at the scoreline. That's why. Because
you're welcome to pass it around.
You don't have to put you don't have to put all the effort in and still get the results out of it. So saw that against Crystal Palace a little bit as well, in style. When as soon as they went down to 10 men, we just took our foot off the accelerator, and people say, no, should be going for goals. But I think it was great game management, because Southampton coming up, save the players' energy levels, bring your 2 star strikers off when the game's won, give them a little bit of extra rest. All in control. It's as Conte wants it. He's not bothered about a 5-0 win. He'll settle for a 2-0, 3-0, where there's never been any trouble throughout the game. Completely calm, relaxed, despite his demeanour at the side of the pitch. He'll scream his head off, but he actually wants it nice and calm. It's a strange on that paradox.
He wants calm, relaxed football. But
yeah, he's a maniac himself. But he doesn't like the idea of things not being in our control. That's why before you look at the league table, when season's gone past, like the scum 6 points ahead, but we got 3 games in hand, that could suddenly look like a lot. That's quite a few points to have on the board. We might be struggling to get that. Under Conte, you're thinking, yeah, I could see us winning those 3, you know.
Yeah.
And Scum aren't gonna, are they gonna win against City? Unlikely.
Yeah, they're soon to drop points. You're right.
Yeah. So when it does eventually come to the point where we're dropping points, I mean, it will happen eventually. Perhaps in 2025 or something. When Nuno's back for his second run.
Second time with Nuno.
Yeah. Just to prove it was the manager.
That'd be glorious. What do you feel like, Harry Kane, opening, the scoring, once again, he opened it against Liverpool, opened it against Palace here. I mean, what are your thoughts on maybe Harry Kane, as well? He obviously scored against, I believe, West Ham. Is Harry Kane, is he back?
Well, I've been, as you know, I've been a massive fan of Harry Kane right the way through. When he was a youngster, I could see the potential in him. Jokingly, I remember saying to somebody I was helping run a Facebook page with at the time, when he first broke into the team, and we're saying, he's actually got really good skills, this lad. And they were talking about who we're going to sign for a new striker for the season, and we put up, what about Harry Kane? Can he step up? We're just going, why not? If he gets back properly, he gets trained properly. And then we jokingly put in, Ballon d'Or nominee. And of course, everybody laughing hysterically. A few seasons later, there he is, Ballon d'Or nominee. He's just been unreal. How people could start doubting him for just one season, it baffles me. Because everybody keeps using the same phrase: the form is temporary, class is permanent. I mean, this Harry Kane, he's proved himself for a long, long time for us. The 7-season wonder, or whatever you want to say about him. But
the 7-season wonder.
Yeah, I mean, he's back. He's still not on peak form, but he's scoring. That's the good thing. The goals are going in when he's not playing at his best.
Right.
So when that sort of kicks in, I think probably going to be late season, or we might even be next season before he's back to his flying best.
I think you're right. Where it's like, even because you could probably say like maybe against Liverpool, he was probably one of the best players on the pitch. I think against Liverpool, against I think the matches where he didn't score against Brentford and Leeds, he was one of the best players on the pitch. But now he wasn't scoring in those matches, and now he's scoring when he's not necessarily been the best player on the pitch, which is just a good sign, because then we know he can be then even better.
Yeah, absolutely. It's Harry Kane. He's got it there in his locker. He just needs to hit a purple patch. Same as Sonny. Sonny hasn't been the player we know lately. He's been struggling a bit. He gets the goals are coming sort of sporadically, but he's missed a lot. He used to stick in easily. If he gets a purple patch as well, the both of them coincides with that little Chelsea match or two coming up, and a little cup final. We could be having a very nice time coming into the close of the season. If it wasn't for the likes of Man City, we might even look at the top of the table, let alone top four. But they seem to be stepping up another gear all the time, don't they?
Yeah,
they're going to be hellish difficult. If it was catching Chelsea, why not?
I think that's who we should be keeping our sights on, is unfortunately the scum down the road, and then the blue scum down the south. So I think that's
nice to be London's best, as we should be.
that certainly could be the case. Who knows? We got to dream high, and we won't be dropping points until 2025, like you said. So Chelsea's on the way.
Yeah, the only reason we're not getting the quadruple is because we've been robbed this season. Bloody UEFA. And next season, it's the quintet. Season after that's the sextet, isn't it? Because you'll have the Charity Shield and then Super Cup and then Club World Championship. I mean, we're just going to be winning 7 trophies a season for a while Conte's there, aren't we?
And they didn't let us into the Ryder's Cup this season, so
I don't think the alcohol's out of the system
weren't allowed into. A bunch of competitions we weren't allowed into. But final question, Kuva. I've asked every person that's come on this, if you were to spend really big this January window on one player in particular, it's going to be Vlahovic. You're spending on a striker.
I just don't think we can afford to miss out on him.
Is he like an Erling Haaland kind of opportunity, where it's just like you just have to get somebody like him in because he's one of a kind?
It's the only player that can fill Kane's shoes. Eventually, whether we love Harry Kane or not, eventually it's going to come to the point when he will retire. Somebody's got to fill in after that. And if we've got Vlahovic and he's been happy with us for a few years, who better? I mean, with Conte there developing his game even further, he's a monster. He's an absolute monster of a player. And he's just getting better.
The Premier League as well. He seems to like the physicality. He likes to have somebody kind of bump him. He likes to have somebody kind of pull on his kit. Vlahovic, he seems to get, to a degree, he seems to like the physical contact, of football. And, you'd like to think then the Premier League is kind of well suited for him.
And dominant in the box where it really counts. He's just got it all. I mean, comparisons being made to Ibrahimovic, because he's got no weakness to his game. It's there to see. I think we should throw absolutely everything at trying to sign him. Even if we don't get anybody else, that will be a major coup for us. And Conte will develop him into it could be one of the players of the next generation, or this generation, I should say now, because he's already doing it.
I completely agree. I think you're actually right. And my feeling is that it's kind of like an Erling Haaland situation, where these guys don't really grow on trees, and you just kind of have to, even if it's a position where, maybe it's a bit of a backup or a second kind of striker, you just don't want to miss out on players like these, because they're almost, how do you say, invaluable, you might say, where they're just that you can't put a price on them. They're that good. So I completely agree. But Kuva, any final words of wisdom? And also, where can people find you?
Words of wisdom, I think Southampton 2-1 win. I think it's going to be a tough game, that one. Personally, I'd like to see us put in Højbjerg sitting on top of Ward-Prowse. Even though it's an odd position for Højbjerg, I think he will cause them a lot of problems, totally disrupt their game. Perhaps win the ball high up in their end of the pitch a few times. It could really throw a spanner in the works for them. Plus, he's going to want to play so well against his old team. Players always do. Mm-hmm. So that could be an amusing one for me. But I think we'll go 3-5-2 and soak up that midfield pressure and then hit them on the break again. They haven't played at home for a while, so the pressure's on them to keep the goals coming and try and keep a few wins going. So they'll push forward at us. That could suit us very well.
Love it.
Otherwise, you can find me on Tottenham Tantrum Gold. We'll be on in the morning. Dermot, Phil Lattis, but usually Ben Kaufman lately as well, if he's up for it. We're doing all the classic games from as early as 1921, one of them, all the way up to the early 90s. All the Spurs legends. Having a look at these games, talking our way through it like we're three men in the pub sort of atmosphere, instead of having the commentary over it, and just enjoying the history of our great club, because it gets forgotten too easily, especially with this corporate Daniel Levy's machine on view all the time. I want to see the memorabilia, and it seems like a few other people like it as well. So that's where you find me in the daytime. Otherwise, dotted around the channels. Please go and support all the smaller channels. If you see a channel that needs a like and a subscribe, please do it, because people put a lot of time and effort into it, and it's what keeps us going. If you just see a bit of appreciation, really makes our day. So
beautifully
hoping
said.
to get to 200 before New Year, which is a bit of a push. But if there's 13 more people with some pity in their heart, we'll take it.
Might as well send it their way. That's right. But big up, Kuva. It's a pleasure to speak with you as always. And everybody, head on over to Tottenham Tantrum Gold if you like what Kuva has to say. If you like what Dermot has to say. If you like what Ben Kaufman has to say, head on over to that channel. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. I'm sure you won't be disappointed. And they definitely are, pumping out the content right now, while maybe Dave and I have slowed down, at least for the time being. So please, head on over there right now. I think there's no better time to do it. And please get them over 200 before the new year. I know will absolutely make their holiday season. It'll make their new year be a beautiful way to start off the 2022 is with over 200. I mean, certainly, especially for a new channel as well. But Kuva, as always, a pleasure.
One last thing. Well done, Jack. You're making this solo presenting look an easy job, and I know it isn't. So
we'll keep on pushing. I appreciate that, Kuva.
Big up, mate. Doing a great job.
And Conte we trust, and Conte we believe, Kuva.
and Levy out.
And Levy out. Big yourself up, Kuva. Always a pleasure, my man. I'll catch you soon.
Will do. Cheers, Jack.
Cheers. There it is, everybody. And we only have two more guests, I believe, for tonight. Everybody, we're going to be going with Sean Butler, who, you'll be seeing on the watch along, who you also saw last time on the watch along. We also have, I believe, William Kelly, the absolute legend himself, coming up right after. But everybody, if you want to ask any of them questions, if you want to ask me a question, if you feel like you want to get any thoughts in, that maybe haven't been discussed in, feel free to throw it in a super chat. It really does help. It really does go a long way. And also, it's the best way to skip the queue in order to get your thoughts and your questions across. But we're just going to keep on plowing. We're going to keep on moving on, everybody. So we are going to bring in Sean Butler. And I'm looking forward to this one, especially because Sean really had some excellent takes during the watch along. And we'll be hearing what he has to say during the Southampton match as well. But Sean, how you keeping? I think you're on mute, my man. Sorry.
I apologize. How are you, Jackie?
Doing all right.
What's going on? How's your day? How's everything?
It's actually, it's I think the show started around 1 o'clock, considering, it's an 8-hour time difference between Seattle and the UK. So in fact, I still got the whole rest of the day, to figure out actually. So it's not like, New York where it goes from like 4 till like, 7 or 8, and then I have a late dinner or whatnot. This time it's actually just right during those hours when, not really be doing much else. So, I've actually
maybe you should be staying, just like cut your rent out in Brooklyn and stay over in Seattle. It seems to suit the narrative a bit better.
Yeah, maybe it does. But I will say, in terms of the match times, I do kind of like, the Brooklyn, match times a bit better. That 3 hours does go a long way. But Sean, you and I had the pleasure of watching the match with Marcelo yesterday. I mean, what are your initial impressions maybe on yesterday's match? Like any huge takeaways that maybe, are kind of popping into your mind? Any, players in particular, any performances that pop out to you?
I think he needs to, this is Conte. I think he needs to figure out. I heard you asking. I think it was Frank. You asked, "Is the 4-3-3 and the 5-3-2 the only formations that he needs to have in his locker?" Right, and if you look at,
or are you satisfied, right, with those two, being
yeah, oh yeah, for sure. Like, you can't, the statistics that were dropped. I saw Sky Sports Stato had it was nothing compared to your stats with Jack, but they had a couple of stat sheets that came out that looked at the comparisons between him and Nuno, and the takeaway is obviously clear for everyone to see, right? His energy, whatever he's done to the team, however he's got everyone running more, scoring more, conceding less, it's obviously working. What I would say though is that with Chelsea, right, and I think Frank actually made another good point about kind of just everyone calm down a little bit, even though I think we're going to finish third. So I'm not prepared to calm down at all.
Even though the quintuple is on, yeah, continue.
Yeah, I'm never going to calm down. I think he does make a point for those people that are not entirely deluded, and people that are reasonable should calm down a little bit. Because if you look at Thomas Tuchel, right, I think that his strategy has become a little bit predictable. Now, I know that they had a good game the other day, and they turned around and won the game fairly convincingly in the end. But I'm still not convinced. I still think that Chelsea are not going to be anywhere near the title. I think they'll be closer to fourth than they would be to second. I've said it a few times. And I worry whether or not Conte, if he only has that, because the difference between the 4-3-3 and the 3-4-3 and the 3-5-2 or the 5-3-2, however you want to look at it, the difference between the two is essentially just a slightly different placed midfielder, right? Someone who's a little bit more attacking, you can put Lucas Moura in the three at the top and allow them to spread it. Or if you were to replace him and put someone slightly more defensive into the midfield, the difference between the two strategies isn't that stark. And I feel like there needs to be a bit of a plan B. And plan A has two options, but there isn't a plan B. So
right.
I'm not in any way worried. I'm not in any way complaining. I'm not moaning. I'm pretty happy with everything. I'm very happy with the way everything's going, Jack. But I would like to see, or I'd like to hope that there is a formation that Conte's got up his sleeve. Should injuries take a certain, go a certain way, should suspensions happen, should there be any more COVID, should something happen to certain players in the team, is there going to be the ability to shift and can we go to the four at the back? And I wanted to hear your thoughts on it, because I'm certainly not the expert in the room here. I think you are. So I'd love to,
to be frank, I just don't see us ever going to a four in the back. I think we'll probably do renditions of, some sense of a five in the back, three in the back. But, for Conte to kind of switch to a four in the back, I just don't see it happening. I think he'll do whatever it takes, to stick with the three in back. You even saw it with like Chelsea the other night. They, in fact, they're a bit, kind of short for players at this moment in time. They still stuck with the three in the back with Reece James, moved into center back. So maybe we could do the same thing with Emerson. If it needed to happen, you put Emerson, at right-sided center back or something. And then you put like, who knows, like a Lucas Moura out there or whatever on the right wing back. I just feel like he's going to stick with it as much as possible, just because it's what the players know. And it's also what the manager knows. And I think, even you take a look at Chelsea, Antonio Conte's first season, he started with the four in the back, but he really, as soon as he could, tried to transition it to a three in the back, five in the back system. So as long as it's available to him, I think he'll probably do different tweaks and different fixes to the five in the back. Maybe it might be like, a little Cam in there, or kind of a central attacking midfielder, number 10, he might throw in there for like a 3-4-1-2.
How would you do that? Would you put Moura into
Skippy.
that?
I think Lucas Moura actually is a clever player to put in there, so that's actually spot on. I think what you would do is maybe you would do Skippy and Højbjerg, and then maybe try a Dele Alli or a Tanguy and Ndombele behind Son and Kane. Yeah. Behind Son and Kane, because you would know, at least with Tanguy's case, is that he seems to play well when he's given that sort of position. Feels like if he's put in any other position, he kind of mopes around and kind of like, doesn't really care. But whenever he's put in that number 10 position, we saw it under Jose when he was put there, he played great. We saw it at Newcastle this season when he's put there, he plays great. And, in fact, it seems like whenever he plays in his preferred position, quote unquote, he seems to, kind of play well. And that just kind of speaks to his attitude, though, which is shit. And it kind of speaks to his energy levels, which seem to only come up when he's playing in the position he want to plays. And probably the same you could probably say about Dele Alli to a degree as well. It seems like he plays well when he's given that sort of role as well. And I don't know.
It's amazing, Jack. It's amazing hearing like how short memories of some Tottenham fans, how one good game against Liverpool and suddenly Dele Alli, people are calling out for him to be included. Hi Stevie. People like and I listen, Harry Winks, and I said to you before, when Dave was on the show before, I think it was the question was, should Harry Winks keep his space? And I think I hope he does play tomorrow, because whilst I do have this kind of concept, I don't think Harry Winks has been particularly good enough for the longest time. But against Liverpool, the idea of competition within a team, if you want to kind of foster a competitive environment, then you have to reward players who grab their chance and run with it. And it's their position to lose. Now, I understand over this particular Christmas period, you've got a game every 48 hours or 72 hours. So you do have to mix and match. But Harry Winks did enough against one of the best teams in Europe to certainly be giving another go. Let's see if he does play tomorrow. Let's see how he plays against Southampton. And if he goes out and hits the game and smashes it out of the park again, then you have to reward it. Otherwise, what sort of message does it send to these players that, there's my first 11, and then all you're ever going to be is a stopgap when needed, when we're busy, when someone's injured. It doesn't send the right send the right message to the players, and you're looking for the right attitude from them. But I do think it's worth pointing out that, having said all that, Dele Alli has only put in one good shift this season. And a lot of Tottenham fans and a lot of different on Twitter, I see people going, "Where was Dele Alli against Palace? Why didn't he get on?" And I'm like, let's just relax a little bit. He wasn't man of the match.
I actually, to be honest, if I were to be, I think it was great to see Dele Alli put in the hard work, put in, the effort and those sort of things. But if we're going to actually be fair, you have to say we should have won that game. And the reason we didn't win that game was because of Dele Alli. So because he didn't finish that sitter. I refuse to believe that was a world-class save from Alisson. It was a world-class save, but it shouldn't need to be a world-class save.
Exactly.
It's like people are saying, oh, he could have played it. He could have gave him the eyes, played it to the other post. I just feel like even if he did hit it the way he did, just bury it. Just, hit it so hard, so hard it breaks Alisson's, hands. Hit it so hard that it hits the upper V's or, the top bins. It just felt like there's no reason that should have been saved. It's not like it was, a shot that was made under pressure. It was like something that you work on the training ground kind of finish, like to warm up, and he missed it. And and then as well, like, that chance where he tried to square it to Harry Kane, he hit it with like the inside of his calf or whatever it was. Like he just really shorted the ball to him. He didn't hit it, cleanly to Harry Kane, to tap away, which made Harry Kane's finish a whole lot harder than it needed to be. Yep. And then another moment as well, when he decided to go down for a penalty when it wasn't a penalty, and he was also just through on goal and could have tried to hit it past Alisson. So those are three huge chances that Dele Alli, for me, absolutely didn't take advantage of. And I think that kind of speaks to maybe his rustiness, but I don't really have the patience for it. Like, to be honest, like, I think that's just something that if you were to be harsh towards him, the reason we didn't win was because Dele Alli wasn't clinical enough. So does that really warrant him playing again? I'm not so sure.
No, I agree entirely. But I just think that, couldn't agree more with what you just said. Dele Alli, let's all take a breath. He could have put the game to bed, and he didn't. I think he played well, but he doesn't deserve that. I don't think he didn't. He certainly didn't do enough to have the conversation around it's his position to lose. I do think that Harry Winks, if you're playing against the best team in Europe or one of them, and you put in a man of the match performance like he did, then he should be given a chance. And if he doesn't play tomorrow, then I'd feel a little bit sorry for him, which I can't believe I'm saying out loud.
Yeah, I mean, but maybe a lot of people are saying, to me in particular, for my argument, maybe we should give him credit though for the movement. Maybe we should give him credit for the hard work though. Which I think I digressed and say if I was going to be harsh towards him, that was my answer. Saying that he should have done a whole lot better. But if we were to be really nice to him, you would say that, he was showing more effort, showing more passion, showing more, kind of intelligence of movement than he's ever had this season. So
step in the right direction for sure.
Correct.
I've just seen someone in the comments, I think Stephen Williams saying, and James Hunter saying, there were chances missed by our bigger name players, and we don't give them a hard time as much.
Yeah,
right?
Sonny had some pretty,
yeah.
Sonny had some pretty poor moments, to be honest, as well. But, I guess, I think, that's fair. That's absolutely fair. I guess the point is that there were a lot of sitters missed by a lot of players that match. And maybe putting it all on one player is a bit unfair. But I guess in my thinking is that Dele Alli certainly had the easiest of, I think, the chances to put away. And, most Liverpool fans were, saying, even post match that, Jesus, if Tottenham actually had their finishing boots on, we could have been 4-0 down by halftime. So, regardless, it's in the past and, it's still a spectacular performance, but maybe a bit more on that Crystal Palace, performance. We were kind of talking, about how Emerson, is, hasn't really done much, going forward this season and needs to improve significantly on it. Do you feel like this was a step in the right direction, what he did, going forward, last game?
Yeah, it's certainly a step in the right direction. I still think, and I've said it from the very moment
we consistently.
Yeah, I mean, I just look, it's 100% is the best that we've seen of him has been in the last couple of games. He's gone, and I know you have to give patience to players that have come that don't speak the language, that have come from a different country, that are trying to get into the game, trying to get into the pace of the Premier League. I totally get it, and I love the guy's attitude. I love how involved when he celebrates, when he does something, he celebrates as hard when he's not involved at all. Like in terms of like someone who's recently joined a team but seems to fit into the team's spirit and thrive off of that energy, I think you can't fault the guy. I haven't until now been particularly convinced by him defensively. I know your statistics that you pull out make that comment seem ridiculous because he is one of the best statistically. But when you watch the games, you can only go by what you see. And right. I've seen lots of moments where I wasn't particularly convinced. That said, I understand the stats for him defensively look amazing. So I'm probably just wrong in my opinion there. Going forward, he definitely hasn't been.
No, yeah, at all.
But I think that what we saw against Palace and to some degree against Liverpool is he's a different player going forward when the ball is played in front of him and he has the ability to run onto the ball and he's got no time to think about it. So he just whips the ball in. His crosses were better; they were more accurate, And it was, I think, the only person in the game who had more accurate long passes or crosses was Reguilon on the other side. I do think that he's far better when the ball's played into him and he's running without the ball, and because he's got the pace, he's got the stamina, he's got that kind of. He's quite lanky as well, so he can get there quicker, and then he whips the ball in. But if he's got time and if there's a defender in front of him, then I feel like, I don't know whether it's his mind, he doesn't know what to do. He's double guessing himself. He's doing these step overs when he's nowhere near the ball, let alone near the player. They're ridiculous. But when there's a defender in front of him, I feel like he doesn't know what he's supposed to do. And
he seems poor in one-on-one situations with an opposing fullback. He seems to. It's weird. Like he gets by the guy, but then like he just puts in a horrible cross. Like it seems like. He almost seems better actually when he hits it first time, which is also ironic. I would say, like, if you hit it first time, you would have a harder time putting a good ball in. But whereas other players, they're better when they beat the guy, then go through the motions and swing the ball in. Where he seems to be the opposite. He seems to be like you just square it to him and then he hits it first time in swinging across, and it's actually better that way. He is a conundrum. But
I think it's instinct, right? I think sometimes if the decision is taken away from you, if you're someone that's trying to find your feet amongst the team and he hasn't hit the ground running so much, and then he's got those. When he's got the ball at his feet and he's got the decision of how he could pass it, he could cross it, he could take the man on, he doesn't know what to do, ends up doing kind of nothing, and it breaks down. It's pretty frustrating. Whereas sometimes, like I say, I think he's improving. I think he's getting better and better, and I'm starting to see a little bit. I'm getting a bit more hopeful from out of what I'm seeing from him. But I think sometimes if you're trying to improve, taking the options, if there's no plan B or no option B, C, or D, and the only option is the ball's 20 yards in front of you, run to it and cross it as quickly as you can. Sometimes too many choices is a bad thing, and so I'm liking what I'm seeing from Emerson. I'm still not entirely convinced, and I would still like us to go and spend a bit of money if there is there in January, because I don't like Matt Doherty. So I don't, if Emerson does get injured, I don't want Doherty to be involved in the team.
I think the Doherty Emerson situation is the same thing as the Reguilón Ben Davies situation from last season, where it was just kind of like there really wasn't adequate competition. And so we kind of were left wondering or scratching our heads like, could it be better than this? Like, could there be, like someone to offer something a bit different? And I feel like it's the same situation we had with Reguilón last season.
Yeah. Well, Reguilón's, just bearing in mind, Reguilón's probably best game of recent was yesterday. I thought he was really good, but obviously Sessegnon came in, and this is again why you need Sessegnon's out injured now a little bit, hopefully for not too long. But Sessegnon coming in and putting in a performance that he did probably made Reguilón go, shit. This, if Sessegnon stays fit, then I'm no longer the absolute certain choice at left back, right? And so that's why you need these players you need competition. You need every single player in that team needs to think, I don't get my shirt next week unless I put in an 8 out of 10 or more. And for too long, we haven't had competition for places in every position on the team.
I completely agree, Sean. Final question that I've asked everybody. If you were to spend, and I know you were bringing it up in the watch long at a certain stage, if we were to spend 40, 50, 60 million, on a player, what position would it be? Would it be in the striker position? Would it be in the midfield? Would it be in the back three? Where would you want to make that improvement or that upgrade with a big signing?
Have you seen the comments from DiMarzio about? I don't know if I was late to this. Did you see DiMarzio's comments about Vlahovic this morning or this evening? I
have not actually been a bit out of the loop, in fact, on the Twitter universe.
Let me read this out to you, right? Because this is quite a powerful statement. Where is it? Here we go. So this is DiMarzio saying, for example, his agents do not want to talk to Arsenal. They think Arsenal is not enough for him and his career. They think that Tottenham or Manchester City or Manchester United are more suitable for him. Tottenham with Antonio Conte as coach is the right choice for him. He could be a substitute for Harry Kane or even play with him for a year. He can improve with Kane. I think he can learn from a top player like Kane. A year behind him or with him, that should be right for him. I don't think Man City is the right tactical solution for Vlahovic at this moment with the way Guardiola plays, with all of the movements of the strikers. I think he needs another step with Antonio Conte as coach. I don't know if Tottenham will spend all the money, but the club should be right for him at this moment of his career. Like, that kind of thing gets me excited, right? That's
that does, actually. I think the City situation makes a lot of sense because they're in flying form right now, like in flying form. City are, and they're doing it all without that number 9, which we all know, like Pep Guardiola practically gets a hard on, scoring without a number 9, in his side, and that makes you kind of rule out City, because why would they kind of ruin that momentum in the January window if they're already, playing so well without a number 9? It feels like a bit wrong maybe to ruin that sort of momentum or that sort of system. Then you kind of move on to Manchester United. They've already signed Cristiano Ronaldo. They already have Edinson Cavani. Seems a bit ridiculous to sign another number 9. And then you kind of then look at Tottenham, I guess. And so potentially Tottenham is the one that makes most sense.
Well, look, if there's enough money going around and you hear that kind of thing, if there's legitimacy to that, and that's coming from a valuable, trusted source that's getting into the ear of that kind of agent and that manager, that player, if there's the opportunity to sign a 21-year-old of that caliber in January, then I think you have to take it. It might not necessarily make that much sense because there's other positions that do need more, that are more important. But I feel like when there's that diamond that's sitting out there that sounds like that they're from their side, they're interested, I think you have to take it. And then you hope that Daniel Levy can make some magic. I think, Jack, you were saying before that from the midfield, if there's players that are going to have to leave the club to raise additional spend, then You know, there's a few players that we could move on that could raise an extra 40 or 50 million.
Yeah.
And if we do that correctly, and this is where you hope that Daniel Levy is going to turn it on. Whatever skills he does have, here's an opportunity for him to turn it on. To, you know, if Newcastle, if they've had a couple of long-term injuries tonight to two of their key players, Dele Alli suddenly looks like he's more necessary than he might have been. So can Daniel Levy take advantage of that and squeeze an extra 5 million out? You know, who knows, right? So you hope that there's an opportunity here. But I think that if Vlahovic is there, if he is there to be bought this January, then I just don't think you can overlook that opportunity. And I'd rather go for that now and figure out the other things as the month progresses.
Yeah, I completely agree. And, you know, Sean, I guess only time will tell. And, you know, only the rumors will start, you know, kind of blowing up eventually. But, Sean, it was a pleasure. I'm going to plug your channel really quickly, just going to look it up. But where can people find a bit more of you? Where can people, you know, hear a bit more words of wisdom from you?
Yeah, Spurs Talk Show on YouTube, at Spurs Talk Show on Twitter. But I'm going to be quite clearly, you know, I'm going to be with you tomorrow on here.
Right. Yeah.
The last, don't worry about the channel, mate. The one thing, if I've got 10 seconds left, somebody in this chat when I first came on said, and I never got a chance to call it out. He said, I'm warming to Sean, but his flat cap game needs to be upped. It's outrageous. It's outrageous.
I thought you have one of the nicest ones now.
Slander. I'm not sure who it was, but whoever it was, Ivan Simon is outrageous, and this bad boy is my favorite item of clothing. So
I was going to say you went out of your way to get a much nicer one than the dog ripped up as well.
Yeah,
so
my dog ripped my other one. Yeah. So you hurt my feelings, guys. You hurt my feelings for that kind of stuff.
But everybody, please check out Sean's, you know, channel. I just put it in the link, everybody, down below. So please check it out, everybody. You won't be disappointed. And also, you will be seeing him tomorrow alongside me for the watch along as well for the Southampton match. So everybody, Sean, you'll be seeing a whole lot more of him every day, every week. You'll be seeing plenty of them. But Sean, pleasure as always. Pleasure to talk with you. The time absolutely flew by, and we're at the end of the show as well. And I'll tell you, it really did flow by for me speaking with you as always. So it's always a pleasure,
buddy. I'll see you tomorrow. Cheers, guys.
I'll catch you tomorrow, brother. Thank you
Have a
very
good
much.
night.
See ya. All right, everybody. That was it for between Sean and I. We're on to one more guest, everybody, and he's going to be William Kelly, the absolute legend down down under, down in the Oceania region. William Kelly. I'm looking forward to this one, especially since, you know, I know he has really good takes. William, you know, I'm sorry, you know, and it's Luke as well.
Hello.
Hey, how are you doing? We're sending the flat cap. I apologize. It's come late. You know, David and I, we need to sign it for each other. So the flat cap is coming soon, my man.
Thank you.
No problem. No sweat at all.
He's all nervous, Jack.
I'm nervous as well. You know, I'm speaking to William Kelly, my man. So, you know, we're all nervous. But I like your kit as well, William.
Yeah. I finally got this jersey came and it was ripped down the center. And I had to send it back to the Spurs shop back in London. And it was pretty bad. And Jack, I got no apology, no nothing. I sent email after email saying to them, you know, like, what's going on.
I remember you saying this a while back, right?
Yeah. Eventually it turned up, didn't it, Luke? And there was still no email to apologize for the mishap.
Jeez. I mean, it's probably just the corporate policy not to own up to it or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Like I get they sell so many of them, and I understand, but you still should have some sort of decent customer service, shouldn't you?
No, I mean, you would think that that's what would, you know, you think Daniel Levy would take pride in decent customer service. You'd like to think, you know, considering he's more of an entertainer, less of a, you know, of a football operator. You'd probably argue.
I think all up, and plus I had to send. It cost me to send the jersey back. They didn't cover the payment for that.
Wow. Jeez.
Yeah.
So wow. I'm actually kind of
speechless. And the
there.
jersey cost me $100.
Yeah, it's expensive to send it down here.
$185. Yeah, it was expensive.
Jeez, I mean, my condolences for. I don't want that headache. I'll tell you that. I don't want that headache.
That always happens to me.
No, that'd be having me punching walls. That'd be having me punching holes in that brick wall right there. I'll tell you that honestly. I mean, I'd be slamming my head through it. I'm not kidding. I get a little bit worked up over things like that. I really would. But what about the game? Did you catch the game last night? William Kelly. I
You
mean,
know, the funny thing about it is, Jack, I was listening all day to them saying that the match wasn't going ahead. So I got it in my head that the match wasn't happening. And I said to myself, I went to put Luke to bed, and I said to myself, I'm going to get up for the match. And I didn't. And I woke up and they had won 3-0. And I was like, oh, I thought this game was off, But it is what it is,
It seems like it was just some huge mistake made by some Crystal Palace journalist, and then the rumor just caught like wildfire, and but it makes sense that rumor would catch like wildfire, because that's kind of the situation right now with, the virus, where it seems like every game is kind of up in the air about whether it goes on. But, about the game, did Luke catch the game? And I just want to get quickly, Luke, who's your favorite player in the Spurs side?
Oh, he doesn't. He doesn't know yet, Jack.
He doesn't know. You got to make your mind up, a bit later in life. I'll tell you. But I would say, Luke, you couldn't go wrong with Højbjerg. Don't go wrong with Højbjerg. I'll tell you that.
I'm trying to convert him to a Spurs fan.
And he will.
But he's never been massive into football, which is he's into art, crafts, all that sort of stuff.
Now more of an intellectual than us. More of an intellectual.
Yeah, exactly. And he wants to do a YouTube channel.
There you go. Well, maybe you should become a flat cap enthusiast, Luke. You should become a flat cap enthusiast. Do a flat cap
I'm
channel.
actually turning away from my flat cap. I've got to get my flat cap.
There you go. But what are your thoughts maybe on maybe Lucas Moura from yesterday? William Kelly. Like,
he was. I did get up and watch the match afterwards because I recorded, because I've got Optus Sports, so I get all the Spurs games.
There you go.
And he was fantastic.
The human missile goal at one stage.
Yeah, that goal was brilliant. Like, that's what you want. Determination. Just get in there. Just go for it, It's a side to the Tottenham team we haven't seen for a long time. And
I agree.
Conte, he's changed things. There's no doubt about it. Everybody can see it. It's obvious. I know earlier on you had a guy called Frank on, and he actually alluded to what I was going to say. I want to see what they'll be like when they get a bad defeat. Because we got to remember, some of these players have let us down in the past very badly.
Yes.
And I just want to see, will they crumble? Will they crumble like they did under previous managers, or will they succeed under Conte? That's the whole thing.
I agree. Actually, that's a lot of people have actually brought that up. William, it seems like, as much as we're kind of, riding, kind of this wave of, wins, some people have, and not just you, but some people have said, how do we respond though when we do drop points? How do we respond when we do kind of break out of this kind of momentum, and, can we keep it going? And I think it's a really good thought. Actually, it's something that I actually hadn't considered yet.
I think they'll respond correctly. I think they'll respond correctly, Jack, to be honest with you. I think under Conte, if you don't, you're out the door. I
think it's good food for thought, though. It is good food for thought.
There's no doubt about it. The improvement levels is amazing. But I still think there are certain players that have to leave this club. I was actually, before Dele Alli got that game against Liverpool, I still think he needs to leave. And I was thinking, why don't they contact Celtic and loan him out to Celtic for a while? Because he'd do really well up in Scotland. He'd score a lot of goals in Scotland. And I think it would bring back that confidence. And if he's really improved, give him a good year up there or 2 years. And if he's really improved, then bring him back. See how he gets on. If it doesn't happen, then teams will buy him on that performances. You know what I mean?
I kind of agree with that, actually. That's actually a good, that's actually a good place, actually, potentially a good destination for him. What are your thoughts maybe on, somebody that, also, I guess, had a pretty decent match, Emerson, what are your impressions of him so far this season? What do you think he still needs to improve on? And, what are just your thoughts in general, on Emerson so
Oh,
far
I
this
think
season?
you can gradually see he's improving every game.
Yeah.
Defensively, he's very solid. You can't complain about that. He's crossing, definitely. He needs to get more into those positions to get crosses in. I personally think Conte still wants another right-sided player to get more of that ball into the box. Because if you're putting class balls in like he did for Moura's goal, Harry Kane is going to score a bag full of goals. So I do think he will get another attack-minded player for the right-hand side. And what they'll do is they'll rotate. And I've noticed Conte doing that a lot. He's rotating these players. So that they're all getting a chance, which is great, because under the likes of Mourinho, he just stuck with the same players.
Right. And then the other ones get kind of,
left in the cold. Exactly. And if you don't give play, like you look at Liverpool, they rotate as well. Like Manchester City, all the good teams rotate their players because you have to. You have to keep people happy, I mean, at the end of the day, sorry, Jack, at the end of the day, these are human beings and they have emotions, and they, if they're not playing, they're not going to, be contributing to the team, basically.
This is a really new thought that I haven't heard yet today, William. So, I mean, you're spot on. I think I haven't thought about it this way either. Do you think maybe not only because of the human factor that he's making, these changes, because if he does kind of rotate, it gives them the confidence to try to impress him without thinking that they're not a part of his plans. It's kind of a nice illusion that he's playing. But do you think it's also because we're covering more distance, in terms of actual, kilometers covered, than any other squad right now. So maybe he's just also for a fitness factor is kind of rotating.
Oh, definitely, Jack, definitely. And I remember Reguilon after one of the matches, like he could barely speak to the commentator after the match. He was out of breath, and I think he has to rotate, because that's a lot of running they have to do. Like, it's a lot. Could you imagine the same players every week doing this? It just wouldn't be possible.
No.
And Conte knows that. And Conte's not an 11 manager. He's a full squad manager. He uses everything at his disposal, basically.
I agree.
And he's class. He certainly is. Like, look at the smiles on everyone's faces. Like, he is class above class. Like, and he'll win trophies. But I keep coming back to this point, Jack, and it's 20 years of not winning a trophy and managers not being backed. And I know people are saying, "Oh, look, don't be pessimistic in this," but they've never proven to back a manager.
No.
So let's see now. January's very close, and I honestly think, like, I can't see 70 million being spent on Vlahovic. Like, let's be honest, I cannot see it. And if it happens, then I'll be the first to hold my hand up and say, "That's fantastic."
You got 20 years of evidence back in that. I completely agree.
It's only taken 20 years. Yeah, good luck.
You got all the evidence on your side, I'll tell you that. You got all the stats on your side. That's what I would say.
Look, I know. Look, Levy's ruthless. There's no doubt about it. But he can run a business. But just when it comes to football, the man should not be near it. He should be nowhere near that. And that's why Paratici's brought in. So at least he had the common sense to look at the situation and go, things are not working out here. I'll bring in someone that knows what they're talking about.
Right.
I mean, Conte, contrary to the fact that people think that Conte will go after like these big signings, he also brings in just players that you wouldn't expect. And he improves players. There's no doubt about it. Like, look at Harry Winks. My God. He just needed someone to put their arm around him and tell him what he was doing wrong,
Yeah.
And I have to, I'll be the first to say fair play to Harry Winks, And I hope he continues, because I'll gladly have him in the team. If he plays like that every week, I'll gladly have him in the team. I have no problem with that.
Mm, I completely agree there, actually,
Yeah.
William. And you've said a lot of new things. I will say, a lot of things I haven't heard yet, today. So I will say, big yourself up, my man. What do you feel like with the Southampton fixture tomorrow? Is this going to be a tougher one than maybe we'd like to think? Is this, a team that maybe
Oh,
we
yeah,
shouldn't
look,
underestimate?
Southampton's always a tough match, but I still think Tottenham will beat them 2-0.
Mm.
Southampton are a funny team. They went to West Ham and won 3-2, which nobody expected. So
Mhm.
I expect them to lose against Spurs, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
They're up and down. The results are a bit
They're the
in and
definition
out.
of up and down.
And Roy Keane said it about Southampton. He was like, they're a bit wishy-washy,
Mm.
They could turn up against you one day and then not be there at all. So, and I think if Tottenham are doing that sort of hard running, tracking and closing down, I think they'll win the battle.
Mm. And what do you feel like, away from home, considering the fact that, most of Conte's matches have been away from or at home, excuse me. This will be one
Yeah,
of the first, apart from the Everton that, match that he started off with. So I think we can kind of, not read too much into that. This one will be the first one that he's played in the Premier League, I believe, away from home. So how do we read into
I'm
that?
not really reading into it, to be honest with you. I just think the style of play now that they play, and especially with Harry Kane scoring goals now, I think the only way for this Tottenham team is up.
Yeah, I'm
And
loving that.
and honestly, if they go I know January is so hard to get players in. It's very hard, and everyone knows that.
Mm.
But if they were to just get one or two signings, it could make that little difference for the push into the top four, because we can't let Arsenal be ahead of us.
No.
Oh God, no! We'd never hear the end of that.
No, we just it just can't be. It's just not even worth
No,
even thinking
it's
about.
just not. It's not possible. It can't be possible.
It's not allowed to be. It's not allowed to be.
No.
Speaking of Harry Kane, William, he opened the scoring against Palace. He opened the scoring against Liverpool. Do you feel like Harry Kane is back?
Oh yeah, Jack. Yeah, and he was never gone. I think. Look, like I said in the past, it was all to do with the situation. His head was turned, and for good reasons too. Like, he wants to win trophies. They were bringing in a manager like Nuno. Harry Kane could see the situation. He didn't want to be there. He wanted out. And I'm sure they wouldn't have explained the situation to Harry Kane properly either. So he was left in limbo. And of course, the performances are going to drop. The fans get on his back, and fans are fickle. They can be very fickle. But he's class act. He'll always get you 20 to 30 goals. Like, I'm glad, I was one to say, let him go, because I couldn't see us going anywhere. But now with Conte, Harry Kane has looked at that situation and he's gone, you know what? We have a manager that could win us something here. I'm not afraid to say I can stay now. I'd like to stay. And you're starting to see it in the performances now.
Mm. Kind of, I'm liking these answers. I must say, William, I'm liking these answers. And maybe the final one that I'll ask you, and you're welcome to spend as much time on it as you like, or dissuade it or whatever you feel. The one that I've asked everyone tonight: if you could spend whatever that money may be, if you could spend that big money, that big transfer fee on a certain player or on a certain position, let's say striker, midfield, back three, where would you spend the money?
Oh, if I could spend big money, of course I'd go for Vlahovic.
Mm-hmm.
That extra competition up front between Sonny and Kane, because Sonny or Kane could easily get injured.
Yeah, they're not.
And or Lucas Moura could get injured, and it leaves us in a situation. I'd also look at the centre backs. I'd go for Milan Skriniar. I'd like him to slot in there. Yeah, I'd like him to slot in there, and I'd leave Dyer where he is, and then obviously the other dude to come back in as well from injury. So, and I think we'd be very strong. I know people are saying, "Oh, we need a midfielder," but I think with Harry Winks playing well the way he is, and if that continues, I think we'll be okay till the summer. I think we can hold out in midfield until the summer if the likes of these players keep performing, which I think they will. You know, they're on a momentum now. They're winning games. They're on a high, which is great, and that's the way you want it.
I really agree with that, actually. And what do you feel like with Vlahovic? Maybe is it just one of those rare opportunities to sign somebody that you just know is kind of like the next Holland, like one of the players that will like set the marking for the next 10, because these players, they come every 10 years, they kind of replace the Ronaldos, the Messis, the Ibrahimoviches of the world. Do you feel like he's one of those?
Oh yeah, definitely. And he's built like a tank. He's perfect for the Premiership. He really is. He's perfect for it. And I reckon he will tear defenses asunder in the Premiership. His strength alone. Contact. Oh, yeah, and it's perfect for him. It really is. And he'll eat that up. He'll eat it up in there. And I think it wouldn't matter where this guy went. You know, you can tell by him he's a class act. And he's young, so he's going to listen to what Conte has to say. But it all comes back to, is Levy and Ennick and Joe Lewis going to spend 70 million?
The age-old question. The age-old question.
The age-old question, Jack. It'll be answered shortly. We're getting there. I keep going to the calendar, counting down the days to January, because I just want to see what will happen. Because my head says no, and my heart always has that little flutter there going, oh, this might happen.
I think that's probably just me and David tickling your heartstrings, probably, giving you that optimism.
I think it is.
Well, William, kind of like Ben Coffin, you've absolutely, torn through all of my questions very efficiently and very insightfully as well. Maybe any final words of wisdom, and also maybe anything Luke wants to say, or just any final words of wisdom for the Harris Army?
Hello, Luke. Not a man of words, especially when someone else is around.
That's the artists, they can speak in other ways. They can speak in other ways, William. But any final words for the Harris Army? Any final words?
Yeah, I look. I think we've got to enjoy the wave at the moment, don't we? We've had a couple of years of really bad football, and just enjoy it. Enjoy it while it's there. The last thing is, as I said, I just hope that they do back Conte. Surely to God, they can see with their own eyes now. You know what I mean? And Levy is there every day. He's watching what's going on. Surely he can see the improvement. I just hope that they don't have this attitude that, he's improved all these players that we brought Jose Mourinho in to improve, and he couldn't do it. Conte's improved them, so we don't need to spend money. That's what I'm worried about. I'm really worried about that point, because if you don't back Conte, he won't stay, Jack,
Yeah. No, and hopefully Levy recognizes that, though, William. Hopefully that's the case, where Levy understands that, he can't just, expect Conte to wave the magic wand for too long. He's going to have to back him.
No. The limitations of that squad will always catch you out in the end.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, like, Conte knows that. He's not silly. Paratici knows that too. And I'm sure that three of them are sitting down chatting about what's going on and what they're going to go after. I mean, I seen that Kessie, it's looking like it's going to happen, So that's definitely Paratici and Conte's impression. Yeah, it'd be a fantastic signing. Like, let's be honest.
Or it's a good indication, is what I meant. It's maybe of what potentially could be the case. Maybe Levy and I get, this is wishful thinking, that maybe for the first time in 20 years, Levy's actually put his money where his mouth is, when it comes to this situation.
Yeah, let's hope so. Look, we can only hope and pray. I might light some candles.
I think that's necessary. I don't even think that's crazy. I think that's necessary. I think you're going to need to do that if we're going to get any sort of, addition. And I could not agree more, William.
The Lord our God will be happy to see me lighting candles to make sure that spend transfer money.
No better team to pray for than Spurs. No better team to pray for than Spurs.
We just need trophies, Jack. We need trophies. We need to win stuff. We're so
Maybe
strong.
final question then, just on that, because you're bringing up great points. Would you rather have top 4 this year or maybe a trophy?
Top 4.
Brave. That's a brave shout.
Yeah, I think what it does is if we get top 4, it sends out a message to the rest of the Premiership that Conte is here, and then if they back Conte because he's got Champions League football, it just puts you in that position where you automatically will get better players and the chance of signing better players. Like you look at someone
You're
like
right.
I don't want to hold you up, but Jules Koundé. Like if we were in the Champions League, he would have signed for us. You know what I mean? Yeah, he would sign for it. So that's what we got to look at. Players want to improve all the time. They want to play in the Champions League. They want the big matches. I mean, let's be honest. The Mickey Mouse Conference Cup. Those players. Yeah, I know the Mickey Mouse. Luke is laughing. That Conference League. I'm glad we're out of it. I'm glad it's gone. I know it was a trophy to win, but no one will take you serious in that competition. And those players, they didn't want to be in it. It was obvious. It was plain to see. They weren't turning up. They didn't even turn up for Conte. You know what I mean? Which was a big mistake by those players, by the way, because I'm sure Conte would have absolutely ripped into them after that.
Yeah, I'm with you.
They would have seen the nasty side. Yeah, they would have seen the nasty side of Conte that they didn't like, you know?
Yeah, that's a great answer, actually, William, because, you know, I haven't, again, another thing that I feel like I haven't heard today. So, honestly, big props to you because, you know, Jules Koundé, players that we missed out on over the summer, you're absolutely right. The reason we didn't get them was not because we didn't win some Carabao Cup or anything. It was because, you know, because we weren't in the top 4. And I think that's a great way to answer it.
And the thing as well, the thing is, Jack, and not to hold you up, the thing is, Conte, like if Conte gets you into the top 4 and into the Champions League, he will bring trophies then because the confidence will just go higher and higher. The class of player coming in will be better. You know, the squad will improve and we'll win trophies then. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I completely agree. And, you know, I think, again, William Kelly, just have to say to you, like a lot of things I haven't heard today that you've spoken about. So, and also the time has flown by, you know, as well, especially at the end of the show. It's, you know, it's a tough one to anchor, and you've done it quite well, my man.
And Jack, we'll get top 4 and win a trophy. Don't worry.
The quadruple is on. The quintuple is on.
Absolutely. I don't know about quadruple. I think that might be just asking a bit too much, but I think we'll overturn Chelsea.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I'd like to see it Arsenal-Tottenham final. I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
I think that would be fantastic.
And a competition for top 4, you know, between us and the Scum could be kind of exciting as well.
I'd like to see it go down the wire like that between the two of us. That would be nice because it would give us that, you know, that sort of excitement that we haven't had for a long time.
I agree. I mean, William, it's been a pleasure. A lot of insightful things to say. Very efficient as well. I mean, you tore through my questions on my list here as well. You absolutely smashed them. Luke, it was a pleasure to see you. A pleasure to meet you. The Flat Cap is on its way. And, you know, as soon as the channel comes out, William, he'll give it to us and we'll plug it in the chat and everything.
No problem, Jack.
It was a pleasure to speak with you, William, and it was a pleasure to meet you, Luke.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you, Jack.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you as well.
And tell David we said hi as well.
Will do, and hopefully he'll meet Luke, you know, for the next show. Hopefully he will. But have a wonderful new year. Have a wonderful new year.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. And Conte we believe. And Conte we believe. And Conte we trust. Big up, William Kelly. Bye. There it is, everybody. And just quickly, we are going to be sponsoring this show by Manscaped. This episode of the Fan Show is going to be brought to you by Manscaped, everybody. If you haven't gotten that last, Christmas goodie, maybe you need to return something and you're just not really sure what to get. Maybe you just want to treat yourself, with a bit of something. I must say, you must get over to Manscaped. They got plenty of things from, just simple things such as, even kind of a cologne to, some nail clippers, the Shears 2.0. They have all the different, kind of range of products that don't have to do with the down under sort of region when it comes to grooming. Plenty of products, especially if you have a bit of maybe holiday cash, left over. Maybe you got, a nice gift card from somebody that, or, just a bit of, extra cash that you have. I would definitely hit up Manscaped because certainly you need to be treating yourselves, everybody. But like I said, thank you to Manscaped for sponsoring this episode of the Fan Show and for helping David and I out, and also, allowing us to try some of the products that they've given us as well. But here it is, everybody, our little promo for Manscaped, who have been so generous to sponsor this show. This episode of the Irish Hotspur is brought to you by Manscaped, the champion of the world in below-the-waist grooming. Thank you very much, Manscaped, for giving us the full performance package this holiday season.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Flat Cap Army, the holiday season is fast approaching. So many of you out there have enjoyed Manscaped's products and they want to help you reload this Christmas with a 20% discount.
David, what's the most disappointing gift you've received on Christmas morning?
Well, Jack, it has to be that boring knitted sweater I got last time when all I was wishing for is Manscaped's Performance Package 4.0.
That Performance Package 4.0 is the perfect hygiene bundle that includes the Lawnmower 4.0, the Weed Whacker, a comfortable pair of boxers, and Manscaped's specially scented hygiene liquids. And it all comes, everybody, in a nifty travel kit to put all those Manscaped goodies inside.
Wow, that's a 5-star playmaking hygiene package, Jack. But how can I impress my Mrs. Claus this season?
This upcoming Christmas, why not freshen yourself up for that romantic evening with Mrs. Claus by the fire with Manscaped's Crop Mop Ball Wipes, their Nail Care Package 2.0, a body wash, and their 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner. But where else can the Manscaped help the Flat Cap Army smell good, David?
Well, Jack, it's not just your hanging ornaments that need to smell fresh. We all know the top of the tree needs to smell just as good as the trunk. So why not treat yourself with Manscaped's refined cologne and improve your chances with Mrs. Claus?
Get 20% off with free shipping and use the code FLATCAP at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code FLATCAP. It's time to join the Manscaped movement. Your balls will thank you. There it is, everybody. Thank you very much to Manscaped for sponsoring this fan show. And everybody, like I said, if you have a bit of leftover cash, maybe you just need to, spend a bit of money on maybe yourself after maybe spending money on others this past holiday season, feel free to do so over at Manscaped. If you use the code FLATCAP, that is the code FLATCAP, you get 20% off, everybody, over at Manscaped. I would really recommend, using that code. It really does help David and I, but it also allows you to take a bit of get a bit of a discount, as well as you get free shipping. And I would say, everybody, especially all you men out there, really treat yourself, especially, like I said, if you have a bit of cash left over, feel free to spend it on, kind of the regions of the body that I feel like do need a bit more attention, probably. And as well, if you're trying to impress a certain Mrs. Claus, or, maybe a certain partner, a certain special someone, in your life, I would definitely recommend spending the cash there, because it does really, improve your own look. It improves yourself. It improves, your own confidence as well. There's everything that you can get from the full performance package, which includes, everything you could need for, tidying up down there. Also includes a bit of kind of ball toner, a bit of ball deodorant, which I would say is spectacular that it even exists. You can also get something like a Crop Mop Ball Wipe, which is spectacular too, in terms of, just doing a bit of easy kind of cleaning. And then also you can get things such as the facial cologne, as well as, just simple kind of 2-in-1 shampoo and body wash. There's plenty of things you can get over there that are not just for the down under. But that will be all for the show tonight, everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you enjoyed the fan show. David will be back as soon as possible. I think he'll be back after the Southampton match. I'll be doing the watch along for the Southampton match tomorrow. We'll be just doing that. It's a bit too early for me to do the preview, but we'll be catching you for the watch along, everybody. So please stay tuned. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the show. Really was a pleasure to be with you guys. Really, thank you, everybody. for sticking with me the entire show as well. Thank you for having your patience with me for this whole show as well. I know it sometimes is a bit different just, without David. You're probably used to that beautiful silky Irish voice, but you're kind of used to mine for this one. But really do appreciate everybody for sticking around. Thank you everybody for the support as always. And come on, you Spurs. Come on, you Harris Army. And Conte we trust. And Conte we believe.
Everywhere we go.